Welcome to the Delta Flyers as we journey through the wormhole. Your hosts along this journey are my fellow esteemed Star Trek actors, Terry Farrell, Armin Shimerman, Robbie McNeill, and myself, Garrett Wang. To receive the complete version of this podcast, please go to patreon.com/the Delta Flyers and sign up to become a patron. Welcome to our newest co-host, Armin and Terry. Hello.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
I have goosebumps.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're launching. I can't believe it.
I know.
We are launching, and not only are we launching this new chapter, but the Delta Flyers as a podcast. I want to say this right up front. We paused because of the strike.
Right.
Now that the SAG-AFTRA strike is over, we are, for the first time, an official SAG-AFTRA podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So excited about that. Yeah, it's going to be a great journey. We've already watched the pilot episode that we're going to talk about today. Wow, it's going to be so many things happened in that pilot. Relationships, the stakes of what's going on. It's
setting the story.
Yeah, setting the story. Yeah,
introducing really the characters.
All right. First order of business is to wish people happy birthday. That's the new. That's one of our new segments. So, Robbie, who do you have
for our Patreon subscribers? One of the perks is birthdays on this podcast. So, our first one is Sandra Stengel on December 4th. Happy birthday!
Happy
Sandra.
birthday!
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Yeah.
And Maria Roselle, December 6th. Happy birthday to you!
Happy birthday, Maria!
And we also have to say happy birthday to Terry because Terry's birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday to Terry!
Happy birthday, Terry!
Yay! Okay. We also want to welcome all of our prophets that have signed up. Thank you for signing up. Robbie, who do you have?
Our prophets for this new chapter in our podcast include Stephanie Baker, Jason Okun, Marie Burgoyne, Kris Hansen, Janet Harlow, Brian Barrow, Heidi Mclellan, Rich Gross, Mike Gu, Tara Polen, Vikki Williams, and Holly Smith. Who are our other prophets, Garrett?
We have AJC, Nicholas Russell, Lisa Robinson, Alex Mednis, James Morrow, Roxane Ray, Andrew Duncan, Feroza Mehta, Jonathan Brooks, Gemma Laidler, and Matt Norris. Congratulations, all of you, on being prophets.
Thank you guys for your support of the podcast and our Patreon supporters. We thank all of you. And we watched the pilot episode. We're excited to talk about it. We're going to take a quick break for a moment with a sponsor, and we'll be right back with our recap and discussion of Emissary.
Was that the banister from the railing that was on top of Cisco? Of all the explosions we've had on Voyager, we've never had that happen. I mean, that's pretty hardcore.
Jennifer, okay, this ship is destroyed worse than any ship in Star Trek history. It is the biggest disaster I've ever seen, and she does not have a speck of dirt on her. She is like Sleeping Beauty. It's unbelievable that she got through all of that and didn't get, a bruise, little blood here or there, messy hair. It's possible. Okay.
Oh my goodness. The Starfleet crew member that says, "Stand by to launch," sounds remarkably similar to Season 1 Ensign Harry Kim.
A lot of them lost everything they had. A few are trying to rebuild, but
That's Armin. That's our podcast buddy. That's his first shot. I'm so excited.
still can't get to leave.
I suppose you want the office.
Well, I thought I'd say hello first, and then take the office. But we could do it in any order you like.
Hello.
Is something bothering you, Major? The provisional government disagrees with you.
The provisional government and I don't agree on a lot of things, which is probably why they sent me to this godforsaken place.
And probably why they gave me this godforsaken haircut. Provisional government.
You, Quark. Seems reasonable. You have all the...
I need to give them a tour of the station.
You and Dr. Bashier go ahead, I'm afraid of...
There's Terry. It's Terry too. Oh my gosh. Our podcast buddies. They're all here. Yes.
To put Lieutenant Dax. Think of an eye. I see her. Like this.
None of your past experiences help prepare you for...
What did I tell you, Jason? There's your wormhole.
Man, that sounded a lot like Roxane Dawson, like Torres, like B'Elanna Torres. There's your wormhole. I gotta say, I'm kind of like Team Kira right now. Major Kira Norris for the win.
If you don't take that hand off my hip, you'll never be able to raise a glass with it again.
Does anyone else get 90s horror film music when you heard the background music, that soundtrack in this scene? It just, to me, sounds like something from Nightmare on Elm Street. Maybe Friday the 13th. More Nightmare on Elm Street, I'd say.
All right, everyone, we are back. Now,
Yes.
What we used to do is we would introduce each episode. Robbie and I would introduce each episode with a poetry synopsis. We're going to continue that tradition. So, Robbie, why don't you take it away with your limerick for Emissary Part 1 and 2?
Yes, my limerick. I was blown away by this episode. To me, this episode was very much a Cisco story. It really centered around, that was the heartbeat of this episode. So my poem, my limerick is going to honor Cisco this time. Here we go. There's a tragedy at Wolf 359 that leaves Cisco quite far from fine. Now he's commander of the station. It won't be a vacation. The new Star Trek series is officially online.
Ooh.
Lovely.
Yes, thank
Ooh.
you. There's my first
There you
DS9
go.
limerick.
There you go. Now, we have told both Armin and Terry if they want to contribute and throw in a haiku or limerick for any of these episodes upcoming, they are more than welcome to do that. My haiku for Emissary, Part 1 and 2. Ben, haunted by past. He must help unite Bajor. It's not linear.
Wow.
Good.
Linear. That's
Good.
3 syllables,
That's a
right?
haiku.
Linear. It's 3
Linear.
syllables.
Okay.
Linear.
It fits.
Okay,
It
there you
fits.
go. Thanks.
Nice.
Okay. I am not a talented writer, but I
Did you
thought I want to be part of the team.
You came
Oh
up
my
with
gosh.
something.
Oh my gosh.
Go.
And I want to go before Armin because he's very talented. Cisco is stuck in a rut. His trauma, it is in his gut. Giving lessons in linear time, beings give him the key to his mind. And now his personal mission is clear. Commander Sisko is action in high gear.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Bravo.
That is beautiful.
All right.
That's wonderful. I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
you're doing poetry.
I did not expect this. Okay.
Yay.
Yay!
So I
Armin's-
am not going to compete with all you poets. I'm a novelist. I'm not a poet. So what I want to do from now until the end of this is to actually find a word and define it. Usually a word in the title. So that obviously the title of this episode is called Emissary. This from the Oxford English Dictionary. Emissary, a person sent on a special mission, especially to gain information or promote a cause, which I think is a perfect title for this particular episode.
Yeah. That's etymology, right? The study
Etymology.
of language and words. Yes. Interesting.
Wow.
I love that
Excellent.
you're our resident entomologist. Yeah.
I think an entomologist is someone
Is
deals
for
with insects.
bugs.
but
Yeah.
I could
Yes.
be wrong.
Yeah.
I could
So-
be wrong.
No, you're not.
etymologist.
I don't even know
Yeah,
what
Robbie,
an
don't
No.
put ento. It's etymologist. There you
etymologist.
go.
See,
Yes.
that's why we need Armin here to keep us on track.
Wow,
If it's
Armin,
arcane
that's
words,
so cool.
I know them. If it's arcane words, I know
Yeah.
them.
Okay, so Emissary
Mm.
was written by Michael Piller, story by Michael Piller and Rick Berman, directed by David Carson.
Mhm. Right.
Any thoughts on the writers and director before we get into the episode itself that you guys have?
Let Terry go first, and then I have some thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terry.
I was shotgun hired, so I think it's probably better to hear from Armin first because I came into the
All right.
Did you
Into the-
did you audition for David Carson, the director? Do you remember any feedback or anything that in your audition process with the director?
I remember Rick Berman pretty much talking when I was auditioning. So
Okay.
I really think that David Carson, I don't remember meeting him. He might have been there, but my guess is he was probably on the set working while I was having my audition.
Oh, I see.
I could
So-
be wrong,
So it was
It was a
Berman and a bunch
table
of
full of
suits.
people.
And a bunch of suits, right?
but I
Okay.
only remember Berman talking to me
Yeah.
How many auditions did you have for DS9?
a bazillion.
Oh, like
All
me.
at the end. No, it felt like a bazillion. They wouldn't see me for a really long time through the summer. And so in August, they still hadn't found Dax. And so they had me come in and I did test twice. I didn't have to, but it was like I tested one week and one gal didn't show up. And I had tested against her on several other projects. So I was not going to leave that up to fate. I had to,
Yeah.
I felt like I had to still show up and have my face.
Wow. So they
around.
said to you, we're going to test with a girl that wasn't there. You're welcome to come back and be there.
No,
on the
you don't
day.
have to come back. And in
You
fact,
don't-
with SAG, you really,
You're not supposed to.
they can't ask you to,
Oh,
but I volunteered to. Yeah. There's certain things that
Good
it's
for you.
undue stress that they can't put us under.
Were you the
Wow.
last person cast in the?
Yes.
You were. Okay. And Armin, do you know the order of who was first, second in terms of?
I know who was first.
Yeah.
I was.
Oh.
wow.
Okay.
I was first. And I do we have time for this? I was
Yes.
first because Berman told me after I auditioned for the last time for the suits. Berman said to me, "We wrote the part for you," so they knew they were
Wow.
going to use me.
Wow.
So I was first. Who was second, third, fourth? I don't know.
Okay.
But I know Terry was the last, and there is a line in the episode that I kind of love because it refers, I think, to Terry, or at least Dax not being cast yet, which is
Oh, that's funny.
the Cisco says, "Any news on our science officer yet?"
You know what's funny? When I heard that line, I was wondering, was that ironic or was she? Because I knew that she got cast late. That's funny.
A little of both. A little of like nailed
I
it.
mean, we didn't have a Dax. It was true. Terry wasn't part of the cast at the first day. She certainly became part of the cast immediately after and was, if I may say so, the best part of the cast. So.
Aww.
Armin,
I
that's
love
sweet.
Armin.
And
So the true line should have been, any word from our casting director about our science officer? Should have been the actual
Hello,
line.
Junie.
That was the
Junie
original
Lowry.
line. That was the original line, but it was too long, so they
It
cut
was too long,
It
clearly.
was too long.
All
I
right.
heard something about, just to finish some casting memories and rumors. I heard something that about that Avery wasn't going to come in for DS9. And that David Livingston's the one that said, send him the script. He was in New Mexico or somewhere. Make sure Avery gets the script. Send it to his house directly from us. Like David Livingston really thought that was the right fit. Did you hear any of that?
I don't know any of that. I do know another story tangential to that. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. So it may be apocryphal. They had some discussion about another actor for the role. Avery was perfect for the role, so we're very glad it turned out the way it did.
Yeah.
But the other choice may have been James Earl Jones.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Oh, he feels like a warm hug, though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
James Earl Jones.
Very,
I don't know.
Both
It's like-
very skilled and strong personalities, but very different tonally, Yeah, for
Now
sure.
I'm just starting. Now through my head is just running every prominent African American actor.
Wonder who they
Denzel
looked at.
Washington
Yeah.
as Cisco. I'm going through all these things, but
That'd be way
James
too
Earl-
expensive. way
James
too
Earl
expensive.
Jones. My goodness, James Earl Jones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But very cool.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about our directors and writers, Michael Piller or
But David Carson was a very gentle director, very kind. He had all the shots worked out in his head. He approached us all with a very gentle touch. I'm sorry we didn't have more episodes where David directed. What people may not know is the original. I don't know if it applies to syndication. It does apply to primetime, and Robbie may know better than I. That the original director of a show gets residuals for all the episodes because he sets the tone, he sets the look, or she sets the look, and therefore is entitled to residuals from the DGA. So David got residuals for 7 years from us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a modest amount. I don't want to overplay that royalty that gets paid out to pilot directors, but it adds up over time. You're absolutely right. David
It's like
Carson,
doing guest star. It's like being a guest star. If you do enough guest stars, eventually it starts to feel like
adding
good
up.
income.
Yeah. So David Carson got paid a modest amount, but every time an episode was produced, David Carson received a royalty. Yeah, for that. So being a pilot.
And Michael, you can tell Michael Piller wrote this episode because there's a lot of it about baseball.
I know.
And there wasn't a greater fan of baseball than Michael Piller.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him he had a collection of antique baseball cards that were just gobsmackingly wonderful to look at.
Oh my
goodness. I smile every time I hear the speech about Cisco talking about baseball because that's straight from Michael Piller's lips.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I went to a couple Dodger games with Michael Piller. He had season tickets. He always wore that Dodger cap. I don't know if you remember. He always had that blue Dodger cap
100%.
on. Yeah, and he was real philosophical about baseball. You're right. So it fit that love of baseball fits right into this pilot episode beautifully.
Before we jump into everything, I have a question for our DS9 actors.
Yeah.
Now, in pronunciation of words, one of the things that drives me nuts is that when people pronounce the capital of China, they mispronounce it. 99% say Beijing. They zhuzh it up, but it's actually Beijing. It's just straight J. There's no ZH sound, but everyone goes Beijing.
Yeah.
But in this episode, some people say Beijor and some say Beijor. So there's a zh and a non-zh in this episode. For instance, Patrick Stewart says Bejor, so he is just a J. And other people I've heard say Bejor. What is it? Which one is the proper pronunciation?
I would say Bejor.
Me too.
A zh.
I would say that. And there's a third pronunciation, if I may, which is Patrick Stewart, who says Bejor.
Bajor, excuse me.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. So Bejor, Bajor, and Bajor. And you say Bejor, is what you're saying. Okay. So there's a zh there.
And listen to Sid pronounce my character's name. He never says Quark. He says Quark. Quark.
Yeah. See, that is the other name, Armin, because in there it's Quark with an A, and also I think I hear sometimes Quark, like more of an O sounding. How do you pronounce the proper pronunciation of your character?
Paycheck.
Nice. Yes.
Exactly.
I don't care how you pronounce it. Just pay.
Just pay me. Okay. Quark. Okay. All right.
Let's get into this episode.
Yes. So we begin. The opening scene, the opening shot is basically a scroll, a Star Wars-like scroll of words talking about Borg Picard leading the Borg attack at Starfleet Wolf 359. And that is exactly how the Voyager pilot began too. We also had a scroll of words, and it's maybe that's a theme. I don't know.
No, wait, we can't just pass by this. I
Go.
can't stand that it copies Star Wars.
Well,
it's just so like
it's a little different though.
I have the
Star
same
Wars is
feeling.
tilted at an angle going away from
No.
you. This is going straight up. So there's a
I'm
tiny
with Terry on
difference.
this.
Okay.
It
All right.
felt a little derivative. I wonder if the pilot of TNG, what was the title of that? Farpoint?
Encounter at
Farpoint. Something at
Encounter at
Farpoint.
Encounter at
Farpoint.
Farpoint. Yeah.
Did they have a scrolling title? I don't know. We'll
I've
put
never
that out
seen
to
their
the
pilot.
fans.
I don't think.
But
no.
I wonder if it, because they did it on ours, they did it on yours too.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was
A thing.
if that was a thing. Yeah, a thing with the pilots of that generation of Star Trek shows. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I do remember when I auditioned, they said that Deep Space would be the dark Star Trek and that we would be the Star Wars of Star Treks, to think of it that way, because of the promenade and Quarks being like the bar at in the first Star Wars that we all saw. Yeah, because you saw the aliens and how they lived their lives, and it was more all of us matriculated together.
Interesting.
And we see that. Well, we haven't gotten there yet, so I'll be quiet.
Wait, Terry, wait. There's so much more to go.
All right. So after that scroll, we do have a view screen shot of Borg Picard ordering Starfleet ships to disarm their weapons and escort the Borg to Sector 001 or be destroyed. Then we have a tight shot on Cisco. And then we see the captain of the Starfleet vessel is a Vulcan who just happens to be somebody very familiar to all of us.
J.G.
Hertzler. My goodness. And what's interesting? I thought that maybe Cisco was not on the same ship, but they're on the same ship because it almost seems like they're co-captaining to me. I was like, wait, who's the real captain here in a way?
I think JG is the captain.
Yes.
And I may be wrong, but I think Cisco is supposed to be number one.
So he's the FO. He's the first officer.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. Well, Cisco does give the order to move into position after JG says load torpedo bays and ready phasers. And they, they engage in this massive battle. We have this awesome, cool exterior shot of battle in space, which Robbie, in our prior discussion, this is really good.
I loved it.
Yeah, gosh,
I love this whole opening from here until spoiler alert until everything explodes. I thought it was action packed, and I was very impressed with all the shaking. The camera was shaking. You guys, everybody, in the scenes were shaking beautifully. Yeah. And
this is pre-CGI, all that exterior shots, right?
Yeah, all the exterior shots were models. So the camera movement around any ships or anything happening had to be practical model work. I was very impressed with it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. You guys, your thoughts on the visual effects, Armin and Terry?
Very impressive. A great way to start the show and get people hooked into watching.
Yeah.
Especially, I think, a note to make about when we're watching this show again is that in that time, we tried to do everything, or the production did everything they could to be as technologically advanced as they could be. Right. And so there are things that we have to kind of not be quite so hard on as we're watching it, because we don't have the advantage of doing everything by computer. There are a couple things in this that we do by computer, and they were very expensive at that particular time. 30 years ago. Yeah.
And you were shooting on film, like us.
Yes.
On Voyager.
You
were shooting on 35 millimeter film. It wasn't digital,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't HD. There were no computer CG ways to deal with things. So it was very impressive.
No shortcuts.
Yes. It does not go well for any of the Starfleet ships. They're just simply outmatched. And during all the explosions and mayhem, I'm pretty sure I saw Dennis Madalone fly through the air, because it doesn't matter what alien garb what alien Dennis happens to be. I always know by his physicality, that's Dennis Danger Madalone right there. And am I correct to say that he was the stunt coordinator for both DS9 and Voyager concurrently at the same time? Right?
Probably was. He certainly was for Deep Space Nine.
Yes. And the ship that Cisco is on sustains critical damage. Warp core will lose containment within 5 minutes. Vulcan JG is dead. Cisco gives the command to evacuate the civilians to escape pods. He's struggling through these corridors, and there is a constant handheld shaky camera work courtesy of Marvin Rush, our DP, who was your DP in the beginning. And we see the mayhem. He finds his wife. He finds Jake pinned under some wreckage, pulls him out. He finds his wife also under some fallen beams, but after being scanned by the Bolian commander, we find out that she's already passed away. Cisco doesn't want to leave.
She's underneath all this rubble. And I made a note. She looks great. She's very glamorous. There's no blood.
Stunning.
She's
stunning. She is.
It's like a glamour shot.
It is. Like, you know what? Like Sleeping Beauty, right?
Yes.
Like Sleeping freaking Beauty.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
maybe that's why Cisco didn't believe she was dead. He's like, no,
right?
She looks too good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, everything else was like a disaster, like the biggest action movie I've ever seen.
Right.
And then you cut to her and she's like glowing. She's like a blue.
Not even dirt.
Not nothing.
There isn't even a smudge on her face, right? Okay.
Not a trickle of blood. No.
He's pulled away by his Bolian commander, and they end up in an escape pod with Cisco's there, Jake's there, some others. And there's a really super cool shot of when the escape pod is launched from the vessel. I love that shot. It's just so... They're out, they're gone, and of course, at that point, all the shaking stops, right? Because they're now on a vessel that's not being destroyed.
I did notice, by the way, when Cisco is calling for help to the Bolian, the way that he said, he's got this line where he says, "Help!"
No. He goes, Robbie. He goes, "Help me!" He extends the me, and this is this is the beginning. Do you remember that?
Yes, because that is like. He's just gutted. He's
gutted. But his line delivery is so different,
very unconventional.
So unconventional. Yes. That is the first time that you hear something. Whoa, that's not what I expected. So that's already something.
Welcome to your introduction to Avery Brooks.
Yes,
I know. That's what I'm saying. That was the first line. I just want to make sure we comment on that because it caught my attention the way he called for the help.
Yes,
and it felt like jazz. We've talked about this.
Very jazzy.
Off the air, but Avery's kind of unconventional approach to the delivery.
English language. He has an unconventional approach to the English language.
He does.
He thinks you're absolutely right. He's a jazz musician and he thinks in jazz patterns. Yeah. And his stream of consciousness is the most unique one I have ever encountered.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's poetic. It's poetic in a way.
There's just such an authenticity to how he is gutted, and that is how it comes out vocally. Yeah. It's not anything he would have planned. It's just so, and that's what we're talking about, the jazz. Yeah. Every moment is so authentically real and happening for him. Yeah.
Well,
that caught my attention. So anyway, we're on the escape pod.
So after they're shot out, there is that shot on Cisco staring out the window, and Cisco, the look on his face to me looks like 110% anger. In a way, I would have liked to have seen 60% shock, 30% grief with a dash of 10% anger. But to me, it kind of read as he's just pissed, and I was a little taken back by that. I don't know what anyone else thinks on that, though.
I thought the shock and the anger at the Borg killing his wife made sense to me. I wish he had hugged his son. That was the thing that I missed in that moment.
If he was holding, if he was holding Jake really tight, and then
it would have tied into the theme better to me. But otherwise, I thought that whole opening up until here was great. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Cool. We jump forward in time. 3 years later, we see an older Jake sitting on a dock fishing. And Ben finds him, and he asks how the fishing is going. And I love
this is Sirach. This is our first shot of Sirach.
But let's just say the casting of Sirach, he does look like Jennifer. But I do love how Jake responded to his dad, because he almost gave a Cisco Avery-like dialogue. His very first dialogue, he responds after Ben says, "How's the fishing going?" He says, "Small fries. Threw him back. Want to go for a swim?" So it was very kind of jazzy to me. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. But Jake's not happy about living on a space station. And Cisco tries to allay his fears. They walk out of the holodeck. We realize it's a holodeck. They walk out arm in arm, and they walk to a window where we have a nice clear view of the Deep Space Nine station for the very first time.
With the music swelling up.
The music swells up.
First time appearing in the episode, the theme music appears with that shot.
Yes, with that shot. And then it segues into the actual opening sequence, correct?
I love your theme music, by the way. This was the first time I watched your entire opening credits.
Yeah.
I had it turned up loud.
Yeah.
It's epic. It's royal. There's something regal.
It's
and
majestic. And it's inspiring is the other thing.
Yes,
and
inspiring.
I have told fans for many, many years, I said, I love Voyager's theme music, but Deep Space Nine to me is just as good. It's amazing. And DS9 and Voyager are the two best. And TNG sounds like a high school marching band, is what I always say. That's my little knock on them.
You know, they were the ones that get it all started. They were the ones that
they got Enterprise's their theme music is even worse.
Armin started on Next Gen too.
On TNG.
That's true.
Don't forget.
I know.
Yes.
That's true. I get that. But our music is way better.
Dated.
Yeah,
but
come on.
You know where my true alliance is, so yes, I started there.
I do.
And that's another program altogether. But yes, I started there, and as I said earlier, because I started there, they wrote the part of Quark for me. So
yeah, I love that. All right. Wow. After the wonderful intro music, we have an exterior shot showing the station as well as the Enterprise docked at DS9. There's a station log from Commander Sisko explaining that the Bajoran Provisional Government has requested a Federation presence after the withdrawal of the Cardassian occupational forces. And it's a nice shot because you notice the scale of how big the station is in relation to Enterprise being docked there. You understand how big the station is.
It's enormous.
It's massive. We have a shot of Cisco with Jake tagging along, being debriefed by O'Brien. They're walking through.
When we first come in,
yes,
this is the first time I see those doors.
Oh, the doors, the Cardassian door opening up like that. Yeah,
portals. The portals.
Excuse me.
The portals.
Super
How
cool.
was that working? Because I'm so used to we had the doors that just did this.
It's like a gear of a machine, is what it is, right? Isn't that what it is, guys? It's just.
Yeah, and like the doors on your show, they're operated the same way. It's two crew guys on the side pulling
strings. Did you ever have trouble with those? They seemed like they were.
They look heavy.
I don't ever remember. My character, Terry probably did, but my character rarely went through I hardly ever left the station. Yeah. So I have memories of going through open doors,
but not having them open and shut
for you. Wow,
Terry, what about you? Did the doors ever bounce or do weird things, and you had to go again?
No, it was me. I would step on the threshold and hit my head. I swear, I still have a bump on my head from those doors, and it invariably, some crew member, as soon as I would hit my head, would go, "Watch your head."
Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah.
I never had that problem, Terry.
I don't know why.
The doors. Yeah, the doors.
Why?
And even if I had, Terry, I would never have felt it. So it's okay. No, because it was all
the rubber.
I was with you.
Okay.
That first shot of the doors opening, to me, I felt like those doors were probably challenging for actors, for the crew to get through sometimes. Those round portal, if they're carrying a camera, steady cam shot or something, I bet that was a challenge, an ongoing challenge. Yeah.
Still a cool looking door, regardless.
Such a cool looking door. Right.
All right.
And O'Brien is in this scene, right?
Yeah, he is.
O'Brien, I didn't realize he did 52 episodes of TNG.
Yeah,
he did a lot. So
basically, he's being dropped off. This is he leaves Enterprise, he leaves TNG, and the baton is passed to DS9. Basically, is what's happening. So they walk through the rubble and the damage and the promenade, and the Cardassians have decided to trash the place as they were leaving. And it's interesting because in my world of like looking at real estate properties in Los Angeles, every now and then you'll see a property which the person defaulted on his loan, and because they're mad, oh my gosh, like they mess everything up inside the house. Yeah. Oh, classic. It's just angry, and that's what the Cardassians did. But and
I'm going to stop you right there to add something. I think one of the things that I like about it thematically, about the trashed set, is that for the original Star Trek, for TNG, the ships, everything was always immaculate. Everything was perfect. There was no dust. Yes, when they got attacked, there was flares of things, but everything else was perfect. It's like a cleaning crew came in a moment before they turned the camera on.
Yeah.
But I think, as Terry said earlier, we were going to be the dark show, and everything is at 6s and 7s on this ship, and that's the big sort of an indication to the audience. This is going to be a different Star Trek.
Yeah.
This is going to be a radically different, where things are not in place, where things don't go together well, where things have to be massaged to get them to work.
Yeah, I think you're right. Thematically, it's right on point, especially, and also with Sisko's internal life. I mean, his life has been destroyed.
It's in a mess itself, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's great.
As they're walking through the promenade, we do get our first glimpse of Quark and other Ferengi packing up the belongings of their business. And as they walk on, a Bajoran elder sort of approaches Sisko to welcome him and asks him to enter, since the prophets await him. Well, Ben looks at him strangely and says, well, no, maybe another time. So he declines and walks away.
The classic hero's journey move. It's like, hey, your adventure calls. I'm not ready.
I'm not ready.
I'm not ready yet.
Yes. Yeah. And Robbie does talk a lot about who's the author that does the
Joseph Campbell's hero's journey kind of work. I love the models of that, and just the archetypes in there.
Right.
Yeah. The monk that comes by the way,
do we know him?
When Sisko passes, when Sisko rejects him, the monk gives him a really creepy, ominous look.
He does. Yes. And aren't you? It's like, good. Don't follow him.
He scared me.
Like he's planning to mug Sisko, right? Like, follow me around this corner as my friends beat you up and we take your money. Okay. Ben, Jake, and Miles enter Sisko's quarters. It is also a complete mess. Jake complains about the lack of bedding and the broken food replicator. But I love this little segment here. Ben takes Jake aside and he says, we're going to have to rough it until we get things up and running. Okay. And then little Jake goes, okay. And then Sisko goes, okay. He like mocks him right there. And again, I think that's an Avery Brooksism right there. Right? I don't think that was even in the. I think that would that have been in the script, guys?
Oh, too long ago to remember.
Yeah.
But Terry worked more with Avery than I did. But that seems so unlike Avery to do something like that.
To do an ad lib, you mean? Okay.
Not an ad lib, but to do a child's voice and to mock. That seemed very unusual to me. But as I said, Terry spent more time with him than I did.
Well, no, I agree with you. That feels very. I remember that hit me like my childhood. Like, and it's such a way of shaming, and I don't think of Avery as being that kind of parent and that kind of friend. I mean, because he kind of felt definitely mentorish to me on a parental level, because he's enough older than me. So, but I don't think he would. I mean, he would kind of go like, but he wouldn't.
He would mock his son's way of saying that. So,
did
you guys have the script? Sorry, Robbie. You guys have the script still, right? The first script. I'm just wondering at some point. Oh, you don't? Do you have your first script, the pilot script?
I might have it, but certainly I haven't seen it in 30 years. So.
Oh my goodness.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Did Avery or anyone, were you allowed to add lines? Or we were so tight, you could not say,
we couldn't say anything different.
If or the or anything. It had to be everything scripted.
What did Judy Brown used to say?
DLP lovey.
DLP.
What does that mean?
Dead letter perfect.
Oh,
DLP lovey. I love that.
Is that your
that's another reason.
Judy Brown.
So that's
Judy's
another
awesome.
Reason not to think that he would have ad-libbed it, because
Not that
he's not that kind of actor.
Yeah.
Right? Because he
They
is.
just wouldn't allow it.
It's just not the set we were on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There had been problems with ad libs, as I understand it, from Next Generation, and Berman just didn't want to have those problems over again.
Oh, so it was the TNG guys that ruined it for all of us then. Thanks,
much
TNG
ad-libbing.
guys.
There's so much we can attribute to TNG.
The TNG. Oh, yes. And Armin,
So much
you've
good
shared that
and
with
bad.
us as well. Yes.
Well, that's why there's no DS9 movie or
Yes.
probably a Voyager movie.
All right. So Ben and Miles then walk into, do you guys call that the control center? What do you guys call that? That
Ops?
main
Ops.
Is that operations? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay. So they walk into the operations area, which is in complete shambles as well. Cisco eventually walks into this side office to meet Major Kira, who is on a heated call with a Bajoran leader on the Bajor planet surface. She is in a bad mood. Cisco asks what's
You
bothering
can tell
her.
she's in a bad mood because her hair is
Her
god
hair
awful.
is she doesn't
It's always about the
it's always
hair on
about the
Star
hair,
Trek.
yeah.
Who
She
gave
doesn't-
her that hairdo?
Sorry.
I don't
She
know.
didn't really. It wasn't
it was-
as bad. It wasn't as big or bad or fluffy or whatever through the whole episode. But in this particular
No.
scene,
It was
extra.
It's
It
you
was
know
like
what
she
it
was
looked
going
like?
out.
No,
It
you know,
didn't
yeah.
look like her at all. It looked like I'm dressed up to go out for dinner.
But it also looked like the hair department started to go one way with the hair, and then they changed their mind, and the other part of her hair changed to a different hairstyle. Like there's multiple
It was-
hairstyles going on in the same head of hair. But she's in
Oh
a
my
horrible
God.
mood. Cisco asks what's bothering her. She doesn't believe that the Federation even belongs there. She
Yeah.
doesn't want the Federation there, and she continues her rant.
Which again is indicative of that theme that I mentioned before.
Yes.
That this is not your daddy's Star Trek. She's saying, I don't want the Federation here, which
Right.
you never hear on Star Trek.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and it already begins in that state of like of tension and drama to begin with, right off the bat. She continues this rant with Cisco, trying to smooth things out, and they are interrupted by an alert. And she contacts Odo about a break in A14. He doesn't read it because his security array has been down for a couple of hours, but he'll meet her there. And Ben follows, even though she says, you don't need to come along. He still tags along and follows after her. I personally, the minute this, we see Nana for the first time, Robbie, I thought, B'Elanna Torres. Ta-da!
Yeah,
It was
a little
very
bit.
much like Roxane's character, just defiant and just, ready to
Interesting.
duel, I felt.
Yeah.
Very much.
And
Essence of
it's
Torres.
it's a tribute to Michael Piller, and Nana has said this often. It's a tribute to Michael Piller that he created with the studios, a very powerful woman figure. There, as Nana said often, when she first read the script, she thought it was a man. She didn't think it was a woman. But Michael was trying to make a point. Michael was a feminist. Michael wanted to make a point that women could be as powerful as men. And we had not seen that a lot on American TV up until this point. So he was creating a character that would be a role model for many women to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting too. The Bajorans, I did a little, went down a rabbit hole about Bajorans because I was like, where did this whole Bajoran Cardassian war and everything, the history of that, where did that start? And it started on TNG in the 5th season.
Okay.
They introduced the Bajorans. And originally I read the concept was that the Bajorans were in a war with the Romulans. That was the original concept.
Oh, okay.
And Berman was just like, Romulans, we've seen a lot of Romulans. Let's use the Cardassians. Let's do that. So it's just, it's very interesting, the history of how that came into the canon of Star Trek and the Bajoran history and this very spiritual alien species that had religion was so deeply embedded in them. That was not something that had been explored before too. So to see the evolution on your show with her character, and the whole story, how it's really at the heart of your series, I think is very cool.
Right. We went into an area called religion, which again, the other Star Trek shows had avoided as much as they could.
Oh yeah.
We were going to go into areas that had never been explored before. We were boldly going into those areas.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Religion and spirituality. You're right. I don't ever think I saw any of that. Little episodes here and there.
Yeah, with guest
dabble in
stars,
it,
with
but
guest
not
cast, but not the main cast.
not built
though.
into the
Yeah.
DNA of your show. It was
Correct.
built into your show.
And
Right.
also they were all one-offs that you could pretty much watch. It
Mhm.
was built into how you were going to have the overall feeling of our show, right? We were confronting it all the time. It wasn't like okay, well, we handle it in episode 36.
Right.
But we don't need to deal with it for the rest of them.
It keeps popping up. It keeps popping up.
It's a
throughout.
through line
Always.
to the bloodline of our show, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Remember, the name of the episode is Emissary, which becomes enormously important at the end of our series.
Mm-hmm.
When what happens to Cisco at the end.
Don't tell me.
Don't tell me. I haven't seen it either.
No spoilers.
I haven't seen the 7th season.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
It's going to be
That's
so
all
weird
new
for me.
you.
Yes.
Okay.
So
All right,
in a couple of years.
All right, let's get back to the story. We're in section A14. We see Nog now, who we don't know it's Nog, but I know it's Nog. He's keeping watch while his partner in crime is loading items into a bag. As they exit the shop, they're confronted by Odo. And as they try to run away, Kira and Ben block their escape route. The alien turns around, looks at Odo, and starts swinging some type of medieval-looking weapon, tosses it, and it goes through Odo's face because he's a changeling. And I know that was not cheap to do, and it sticks into the wall, right? So he turns around and he now tackles the alien.
Odo.
Odo.
I want to talk about when Odo tackles
that's
him.
immediately a stunt double. You can tell that's
It was
not
a bad
Renee.
match.
Oh my god! And they after
They
he's
used
got
it
him against
twice.
the wall, they have the stunt double turn towards camera as well, and you can see even more clearly that is not
It's
Renee.
not Renee.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So then there's a shot from Cisco's phaser against the wall to stop the fight. And Odo is completely taken aback that this is the new Starfleet commander of the station because he has a rule: no weapons on the promenade, not even phasers. All right. Any comments about this scene?
I wonder if the stunt double, to me, that jumped out. There's two shots with a really bad match. It's clearly not Renee where the stunt double's tackling.
Yeah.
Like back then, there wasn't HD television. It was standard definition. We were editing. I don't know what your show edited on in the beginning, but when we started Voyager, they were editing on some old system called the Montage, where it was videotapes. And like, I just wonder if the resolutions back then, they didn't even catch it. Like now we catch all that stuff. But back then it probably, like Terry was saying, the technology just wasn't the same standards that we have now. So that was probably something that would have blown by everybody.
And even if they did notice it, I imagine it would have been too, like, this isn't important enough to reshoot.
Yeah, that's true.
We got to keep going. It's how expensive was our pilot? It was enormous at the time. I remember it being like, what? It was like a big deal how much they spent on Deep Space Nine at the time. Yeah.
The other question I have about this for you guys, Terry and Armin, nobody drew a phaser in that. When they stopped Nog and his cohort, Renee didn't draw a weapon. No one drew a weapon. Was there a rule about weapons on your ship?
Well, Odo didn't allow weapons on the ship.
Right.
There were weapons. On occasion, we saw weapons on the ship, but Odo's policy was that there should be no weapons. And he, as far as I know, I don't think he ever drew a weapon in any of the episodes.
Wow.
Could be wrong, but I don't think so.
That's a detail I didn't know. Like on our show, we drew weapons all the time. We were always shooting and firefights and things. Yeah, that's a detail I wasn't aware of. So in that scene, it kind of threw me. I'm like, wait, they're trying to stop a bad guy. Why aren't they drawing their phasers?
Well, Avery certainly did.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then that's Starfleet, and that's we were just talking about.
And he's new. He's a newbie. He
Jorans
didn't
and Starfleet.
Yeah. Okay. Now Quark makes his entrance. So Armin, we get to see Armin for the very first. Oh, not the very first time. The second time we see Armin, and he walks in to say that since they're departing the station tomorrow, he will gladly take custody of his nephew and discipline him in the Ferengi ways of discipline. And Cisco says, No, I'm sorry, Quark. Odo, take Nog to the brig. And he basically wants to use Nog as leverage in dealing with Quark.
So who's the real Ferengi in this scene? Avery is already manipulating some.
Oh, yes.
Well
for
said.
his own profit.
He is. He's
So
out
who is the true Ferengi?
The Ferengi. Yeah. He is the Ferengi in this scene. As Cisco
Do you think Quark knew he was being Ferengi'd in that moment?
I don't think so, but he could have. He could have. He doesn't always tell me everything.
Robbie, you just made it a verb. Did you know
Yes.
that he's been Ferengied
You
at
were
this moment?
Ferengied.
You were Ferengied. Okay.
I want to just say, I really love how they wrote this into Sisko's character, that this really demonstrates to us how intelligent he is, how forethinking he is. I mean, he's
Yes.
thinking the long game. He's not
Yeah.
thinking the short game. Like,
Yeah.
and this is him and Kira together.
Mhm.
She is the short game. He is the long game in
Correct.
this, right?
Oh, that's
Correct.
great.
Excellent.
Great observation.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
true. And
Very
if I
true.
may add something as well,
Mhm.
tangential to this, is we've already seen the opening shots of how important family is to Cisco. Again, we get family. Again, we get Quark and Nog and the mention of the brother who hasn't been mentioned yet. The name Rom hasn't been said yet, but
Right.
we know that there's a brother now involved, and O'Brien talks about his family as well. This is going to be a show about family,
Mhm.
Yes.
which
Yeah.
again is not something we've seen a lot of in either the original series or in TNG. The
Yeah.
family is really important. Again, diverging from the regular blueprint of Star Trek.
Right.
Yeah. And we're living
Yeah.
on a space station. So that's what's real. People are living there. They're living lives
Yeah.
that we live on a planet. They're
Yeah.
living in a space station.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've always said we weren't about boldly going anywhere. We were about boldly living together. Which
I
was
love that.
enough.
Boldly living
Oh,
together.
nice.
Yes.
Wow.
I love that.
I boldly love you, Armin.
And that's very bold of you to say so.
As long as none of us try to boldly Ferengi anyone else, well, that's we don't want to do that.
Leave
Okay.
that to me.
So as Cisco and Kira walk and talk, O'Brien hails Cisco, telling him that Picard wants to have a chat. And that look on Cisco's face is like, uh-oh, it's about to hit the fan.
Oh, yeah, you can tell.
Right. You can tell he's like,
He does
great.
not
Yeah.
want to see Picard.
No, because all he can think about is Borg Picard. He doesn't think about Picard as Picard. So
Oh.
Cisco walks into, yes. Terry?
He thinks that Picard killed his wife.
Yes, of
Yes,
course. Yeah. No, it's just,
absolutely.
Picard is a killer, basically, to him. Cisco walks into the conference room. Is that what you would call that area? I guess
Yeah,
it's a
a
meeting. Yeah, it looks like a
lounge
meeting
or
room, the
office or
lounge.
something.
Yeah. He informs Picard that they've already met at Wolf. And I love how he delivers it at Wolf 359. Like he separates all the numbers. Picard tells Cisco that it's his job to make the Bajorans ready for entrance into the Federation. Cisco says that he will do his job to the best of his ability until a replacement is found. So he's made it known that he doesn't want to be there at all. And he just lays, and honestly, Picard can't really say anything because he knows the damage and destruction and death that he caused. So he's just
that's my question. He knows he caused general damage and distress, but does he? It seems like when Cisco says, "I was on the Saratoga at Wolf 359."
Yes.
In that moment, Picard goes, "Oh, you were in that battle." But does Picard know that his wife died? I don't think he does.
He doesn't.
I don't think he does.
He
I don't think he
doesn't.
does.
Yeah.
So
No.
Cisco's grudge is personal, whereas
Most definitely.
Picard probably just thinks,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is kind of a general." It's it's not as specific
Yeah.
to Picard as
And,
it is.
and I'm glad that was left unsaid. I don't think he needed to say, "And you killed my wife." Like that's not a good part to that. That
Show's
wouldn't have been
over.
good dialogue. Yeah, show's done. Okay.
I'm surprised that they didn't unpack that a little bit, though. It's
yeah,
like,
you think that
But
they
we
should-
knew, the audience already knew that.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
it's what you've already just said, all of you, that it doesn't need to be said. We know it. The audience knows it.
yeah.
And the actor is capable of showing you that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be said.
No, you don't need any lines of exposition at this point, so it's fine. We are now in Odo's office, is what it looks like, right? Cisco wants Quark to stay. Quark has no faith in this Bajoran provisional government, and he's basically trying to Cisco is basically trying to keep people from leaving, and he needs Quark to set an example for others to stay. Cisco wants Quark to be the community leader, and that laugh was beautiful coming out of you. It was just like, it was so delicious, that laugh that you did, and to the point where I want to make a t-shirt that has Armin's character Quark on there and community leader. I feel like that'd be super, super funny shirt and awesome. And he's basically using Nog as leverage. If Quark stays, Nog gets released.
Do you think Quark realized the Ferenging that was going on in this scene? Is that where it became?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. Yes, I do. I think the look is indicative of that. I think I certainly, me and the character both thought that I was being manipulated here. So I definitely thought that. But what it does, it also made me think. I have new respect for this guy from Starfleet. He's operating on my terms.
Yeah.
And it's more than just an empty uniform. There's actually a mind in there that you need to reckon with.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice? I noticed in this scene as I watched it that the sound was very echoey. And then I thought, our sets always had carpet because they didn't want the sound to, we had very soft surfaces everywhere. There was carpet in every room. But this scene had a lot of echoes in it. I wonder if that was something. Did you have carpet on your sets anywhere?
I don't remember Odo's
very
room.
very thin carpet.
Yeah.
But you were also in the jail.
We were in Odo's
right?
office. Yeah.
Odo's office. It was just very echoey. It felt like something that would happen on a pilot when you're in a new set, that next time you go in that set, let's make sure it's not so echoey. Put some blankets or...
Yeah, so understand, it was all wood, and there was one of those portal doors into Odo's office.
Right.
So everything was probably bouncing off the wood.
Okay.
It'll be interesting for us to pay attention the next time we're in his office if we notice.
See how the sound is. Yeah. To me, that scene, it surprised me. On Voyager, they would make us loop everything that had sound that wasn't perfect. We would have to loop walk and talks, the entire walk and talk, if they could hear any noise or, so I was surprised in that one that it was as echoey as it was, and they left it in. I didn't know if that was a choice to say, the place is kind of a disaster. And so that echoey sound in some ways sort of supported that idea that the station was a bit of a mess right now. I don't know. Just a little detail.
It's just funny that we had all that carpet in our ship, because if you talk about Navy vessels or submarines, there's no Navy vessel that has carpet in their hallways. It's very funny.
There was no carpet. There was no carpet in Quark's bar. There was carpet on the promenade.
Okay.
I don't think Terry, help me out here. I don't think all of the floors were covered in carpet in the promenade, but certainly the central area was.
What about the upper walkway? Upper walkway in the promenade.
Carpet.
Okay.
Carpet. Right. Yeah.
But there was this, I think it was in Quark's, it looked like Legos, kind of. Like they were the little bump ups from the Legos. It was a black with little circles everywhere.
Like a
rubber flooring or something.
With some type of pattern on there to not slip, right?
That's what I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, but otherwise, I think we had carpet.
And speaking of flooring, if I may, I remember Herman Zimmerman, who designed the sets, was very cognizant that in TNG, everything the floor sort of sloped. They weren't stairs. They weren't levels. So that it made it very difficult for Marvin and the camera crew to set up their cameras on slopes. So Herman purposely put a lot of different steps, different levels, so that there would be places to put the camera so that you get different attitudes as you look at the actors.
Interesting.
It was a very complex set, much more complex than our set was, or their TNG set, for sure.
And unlike TNG, and I don't know about Voyager, but unlike TNG, when you walked onto the promenade, it was the promenade. It wasn't divided up into little pods. It was one huge, giant.
Yeah, I remember that set. Yeah, it was giant.
Like
in
a
its
mall.
entirety. The entire set was there. Yeah,
it was all there. So I remember my first entrance onto that soundstage 7, and my God, it was all there. It was all there. It was a different world altogether. And as Terry said, it had cost God knows how much money to create that.
Yeah.
It was sturdy. You could have jumped up and down on those railings because they were metal. They were, oh my, and Ops was the same thing. It was just like an opera stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My girlfriend at the time, her father was a massive Trek fan, and so he flew out to visit. So I gave him the set tour of Voyager, and he's also a DS9 fan too. So I said, "Yeah, let's walk over DS9," and that was my first time really looking at all the different nooks and crannies of your set. And we came in on the promenade. I was just going, whoa! I mean, it's really impressive. It really is. And he was like a little kid in a candy shop. He was so happy to see all of that. So very impressive set. So Sisko now.
Speaking of the promenade,
yes,
we go to the promenade.
Yes, we go to the promenade. Yes, and she's Kira's there in the promenade, and Sisko gets his hands dirty in helping clear debris. And she believes that civil war is going to break out amongst the Bajorans once this provisional government falls, and that the only way to stop this is their spiritual leader, Opaka, aka the Kai. That is the only person who can stop this. But she lives in seclusion and rarely sees anyone. Their conversation is interrupted by the same Bajoran elder from earlier, being even more creepy. He just kind of pops his head in and he says to Sisko, "It is time." And Sisko follows him out, with Major Kira going, "What just happened?" And they leave.
Well, I like the fact that she brings up this Opaka and the Kai, and she's starting to kind of crack that door open of spirituality of the Bajorans, and that's when the monk shows up again, which I thought it was great.
And now they're less nefarious. Now they don't. Yeah. Now they seem a little bit more gentle, a little bit more concerned.
That's right.
Yeah. He didn't seem as creepy to me the second time.
Okay.
No.
Just the first time. He scared me the first time. I don't blame Sisko for not wanting to go with him the first time.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Well, he clearly travels down to the planet's surface, because we do have an exterior shot of Bajor, and it looks
beautiful shot.
Nice.
Too beautiful. Nice. Too beautiful.
Too beautiful. Yes. Did you want it to be in more ruins then? Because you do make out there are some walls that have been knocked down and whatnots, but it still looks very nice regardless.
Yes, it looks very, very nice. I thought this is a world that's been,
decimated,
manipulated and manhandled by the Cardassians. It should not look that pretty.
It should have looked like a promenade, right? Where everything was just a mess. Yeah.
They just said that they stripped it of all ways, all means for the Bajorans to take care of themselves. Right. So how that looked like ancient Roman ruins that have been overgrown for years, not a brand new.
Yeah, it's funny, Armin, that you I hadn't thought about that, Armin. I think you're right. It should have been destroyed. But the thing that I did get from the shot that's in there is that sort of the comfort of spirituality. It felt like a spiritual place. It felt a little bit like, the culture of religion and spirituality to me was captured in that image, which was a helpful transition to going into the monastery next. That was the upside of it. But I agree with you. It should have been,
Well, the monastery could have looked like they've pulled it together.
Yeah.
And reveal an open, safe place for people.
Well, in that big exterior shot, you do see the temple on the top of the mountain there, and that's clearly where Sisko goes. He grows. That is clearly where Sisko goes, and he is greeted by Opaka, who apologizes for the rubble around them. And I wish that there was some type of. It's so weird because she just comes up and starts touching his face. Yeah. And it's just, and his ear. And I felt like he kind of stops her, but there should have been some other dialogue like, "Hey, I'm trying something on you." But it's a weird exchange. But she asks
the ear stuff made me uncomfortable.
She asked if Sisko has ever explored his pa, aka his life force. And I wrote down, she performs some type of Bajoran mind meld on him and discovers that the one who is destined to be the emissary does not want to be there in the first place. So that's curious to her, that he has no will at all to stay here or be here. And she says, "Come with me." And she hits her little remote control and the water disappears. So cool. And they walk down this thing. It was very James Bondish to me. I thought,
that was
love
cool.
This. Yeah. And they walk down into the secret shaft, and they enter to the area where they hold the Tear of the Prophet.
Who was the actress?
I can't pronounce Camille's last name, but Camille Saviola.
Saviola. Yes. Saviola. Okay. I did a workshop of a musical with her in 1983 or so. And it was a brief, 4 days in a rehearsal studio kind of thing. Yeah. But
a lovely lady, and a very sweet and very kind. And great to be around. And I'm sorry we didn't see more of her.
Yeah.
I mean, she has a couple
Fun
more
person.
episodes, but then they went a different way.
But
She had a great
Robbie,
She's a great singer, by the way. I just
Ah.
my
Is she?
memory of doing a musical with her, she blew us away. She
she's
had
got
like
some
the,
pipes on her.
the big. Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
was great.
What I noticed, Robbie, and you're going to remember this. We had an episode where we had some aliens come in, and one of them had a British accent, and the other one had a very distinct New York accent, but even more distinct than Opaka, the actress playing Opaka. We had a guy that was talking like this, like a really heavy New York accent, and you can hear in Camille's voice at times when she
A
says
little New York Italian. a
definitely,
little,
because instead of saying orb, she's like orb, the orb, so that's there, and so it just made me tickle inside a little bit because it reminded me of the episode in Voyager with the accent there. Yeah,
aliens also have neighborhoods. They got neighborhoods.
She's from the Lower East Side
Yeah,
of Bajor. That's where she's from. Okay, I get it. Well, as they're in the secret cavern, he's talking about how he doesn't have the power to help out with and she says, look, I cannot give you what you deny yourself. You have to look for solutions within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So very cryptic and very, what is this? She shows him the tear
Mm-hmm.
of the prophet. It opens up. And
The
you're going to say
orb.
something, Rob? Yeah, the orb.
The orb.
The orb. The orb is
I
inside.
have a question though.
Yeah.
So they're in the caves here. Now for us, we had on stage 16 a bunch of caves. Is that where you guys also shot, on the caves and 16?
It might have been there. It might have been on Planet Hell, which I believe was 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
TNG called it Planet Hell. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys
It
shared
wasn't-
that offset, 16 with us, right?
Yeah.
So
but we
sometimes
also had 18.
you had 18 as well.
It might have been on 18, and
18.
there were a
Okay.
lot of caves in 18, so it could have been 18. Yeah,
Yeah,
18 was just for
Was
people who
our
don't know.
normal Planet Hell, and there in TNG when we were filming at the same time as TNG had 16 and we had stage 18.
18.
So it was
Okay.
4, 17, and 18. All three stages were next to each other.
Not 17,
No.
7. Terry.
7?
7.
Really?
Seven.
Yeah, we were
Because we
seven.
were
I was
across-
on 7.
Okay.
Wow,
So when
right
we looked
on.
at you guys across the way, you were on
Yes.
4 and 7. And when you walked out of your soundstage, you saw us on 8 and 9, correct? And
Right.
then
That's right.
you also used 16 like we did for random planet surfaces.
Right,
Yes?
but we used.
But we
Terry's
had
right that we
18.
always. Yeah, we used.
There's another one, 18.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know
4,
this.
7, and 18.
We had our own Planet Hell because
Okay.
remember, before you guys were there,
Yeah.
we had a couple of
TNG.
years while TNG was shooting at the same time we were.
Yes.
So when they were using stage 16,
Their Planet Hell. Yeah.
we were on stage 18. So when you
Oh.
came, you inherited 16
Yeah.
and we were still on 18.
Did you guys never use 16 at all then? You
No,
always
we
had
did.
8?
We used it occasionally
Maybe
in the beginning.
occasionally.
In the beginning,
Okay.
but Terry's right. Then we just went to 18. Caves and everything, they were all built into 18.
Okay.
Moved, for all I know, they could have been moved from one soundstage.
Right. But I'm guessing is
I
18
worked on them a lot.
was 18 close to 16 then? Is 18 in,
Yes.
in the
Probably.
same
Yes,
neighborhood?
it's right
No way.
across the
Yeah.
street. It's right across the street.
Right.
Oh,
And-
I wish I never went to 18 to look at your Planet Hell
God, that
sets,
would have been
but I wish I
awesome.
did.
Me
I
too.
You know what?
This is brand new. I didn't know this.
Maybe we could do an episode someday
Mm.
where the
Yes.
4 of us are back in LA
Mm.
and we do a tour of at least the soundstage, sort of take a walk on
Oh, that'd be
Paramount
interesting.
and
I haven't
To
been
show
in the
the
Paramount lot
geography.
in a
Yeah.
long
yeah,
time.
just so you can kind of see what it is, and then we could go eat in the commissary.
Oh.
Wow.
And at least in my experience, as close as all the shows were, and really there was just a tiny little street that divided us. And by street, I mean really a lane. It
Yeah.
wasn't. I rarely got a chance to go across the street and talk
Yeah.
to you guys or talk to the TNG people. I rarely did that. And I don't know about you, Terry, but I don't think there was a lot of cross-pollination. We knew each other, but we didn't go to visit very often. At least I didn't.
No, no, I didn't either. I don't remember.
We were too busy. We were
Yeah.
too busy working,
Yeah,
and
but
our set was so serious.
Yeah.
But something did happen because there was some cross visitation because there was a memo sent out saying Voyager actors stay with your own craft service and your own set. There what? Do you guys remember this?
Really?
No,
DS
but I bet it was
DS9
because of
actors-
you. It was probably you.
Probably
the
you,
whole
yeah.
thing was just your note, Garrett.
It was probably me and Aaron Eisenberg. I think we both crossed into each
Oh!
other's areas is what happened. Yeah.
I don't remember. There was a note that said
Yes, there was
stay
a
on
me-
your own
there was a
side.
Okay.
memo.
How
it says so
rude.
much.
Don't
Because-
eat our food.
Don't eat our
food.
This food is only for DS9 actors. Stay away. I'm like, okay.
I think that maybe you should note that none of us got that note. So maybe,
Maybe it
you're
was
the only
just
one
your
who
note.
got it.
you guys are funny and funny. Okay. All right. So as he opens up this box that's holding the orb, the tear of the prophet, now he's transported into this beach scene, which is the very first time that he actually meets his wife. So he's back into the past. And again, we get more Cisco-isms coming out
Jazz
of Cisco.
dialogue.
All the sound effects. Oh my God, the hot
Yes.
sand. Hot, like all kinds of things that you would never hear from Picard or Janeway, you hear from Cisco, which to me, it's refreshing to me. It's like, wow, he's kind of outside the box in a way in terms of his line delivery and his sound effects that come out of him. So I liked it personally. But he is, he's trying to make sense of what's going on. But a part of him, you just see the joy that he is experiencing in seeing his wife again alive, it's kind of a nice moment as well to see him on the beach there.
Those are always complicated scenes, I think, when you've got sort of a fantasy of something that you've lost. I think for actors and when I've directed things like that, because there's a part of it that's also very sad. Like if I were to go see, my mother passed away when I was 18 years old. If I were to suddenly in an instant be thrown into a moment with my mother, I would, yes, feel joy. It would be a complicated reunion. I would feel joy. I would feel the grief come back. I would feel all of those things. This was a complicated one to me because I was like, I appreciate the joy on one hand, but it's filled with so much more stuff. So yeah, it was a tricky scene, I thought, for him to play.
Yeah.
I think at the very beginning, though, when he first sits there,
Yeah.
you see him have where am I? How do I handle this?
Yeah.
You see it has to be quick, unfortunately, but you do see that I'm sure he and David Carson had a conversation about it. And I think that's what I like about his acting in this scene is you're seeing as much as he can give you a complicated storytelling around the unexplainable or how do you describe how you would be feeling? I think he does a really good job in that moment.
Oh, I do too. But it's a challenging scene. Watching him do it, I was thinking, wow, the conversations they must have had, the choices they had to make. And the idea that he can sort of revisit and relive this incredible moment in his life is powerful too. So yeah, it was a great scene.
Yeah.
When he's pulled back from the beach scene back into the present, Opaka explains that 9 orbs have appeared in the skies in the past 10,000 years, and the Cardassians took all of the other ones. So this is the last one remaining. And Opaka says to Sisko, you have to find the Celestial Temple before they do, because they're probably going to destroy it. And this is going to shake the Bajoran Foundation to its very core if the Celestial Temple is destroyed. And we learn that this is the path. This is the path or the destiny that Sisko is going to have to take and finding this Celestial Temple.
Any other thoughts on the orbs or any of that? Because orbs are pretty important for your series. I'm getting the feeling.
They are and they aren't. They do occur here. They do occur in a couple of other episodes. They don't show up as much. I think the idea of the orbs was an idea that they had at the beginning that they fell out of love with.
They backed off from a bit. Yeah.
As the show went in different areas. Religion was always a part of the show, but the orbs I don't think had as much to do with it.
I got a sense that these orbs are going to be a key to the whole show in some way, but maybe that was their intention, but then they, course corrected a bit. Yeah.
I think there are a lot of episodes that are coming up that I know for a fact that I didn't really pay that close attention to because it didn't have to do with my storyline. And when you're trying to live a life during a series, it's no
hard.
small feat. But I think we might be surprised at some episodes that might be eye-opening to what this orb experience is going to be for our players.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Okay, so the next scene, we're in Jake's room. Jake is sleeping on the floor, and he's got a baseball glove with him, which is our first, I think, the first appearance of baseball as an idea in this episode. And Cisco is kind of watching him. He tells Jake that it makes him think about his mom and how much he looks like his mom when Kira calls and says that there's something on the promenade you might want to see. And so he heads off. So there's a nice moment after. I love this scene with just this not much dialogue, but a nice father-son moment after his spiritual family, spiritual journey and going to the beach and all of that with the orbs that he comes back to his son. That's the first place he goes. We go to the promenade next, though, and Quark's bar is packed with people. It's packed with people. We see some Dabo girls. The pit boss is having people step up. It's just the place is packed. Quark's doing his job. Do you remember shooting this scene? Was this the first scene that you shot with the place packed like that?
I don't remember.
Oh, interesting.
I don't remember.
This is the first time we see Rom.
Yes, it's the first time
we don't call him out, but we see him.
Right.
Yeah.
And Rom wasn't Rom in the script. It was just Quark's brother.
He wasn't.
Quark's brother at this point. Yeah.
Cool.
That's we had that episode, Robbie, if you recall, on Voyager with the Ferengis, and the Ferengis were the masters of the entire planet.
Not Ferengis, Ferengi.
Oh, that's
Ferengi
the plural
is
as well.
Plural?
Oh, yes. My goodness. Okay. Well, thank you. We had that episode with the Ferengi where they were the masters of the planet. Remember that, Robbie?
Yes.
And
yes.
they had Dabo girls kind of around there too. And I did not know that the undercleavage was started in DS9. I thought, wow, look, they've got undercleavage, but that is a theme already here where you showed not the top part, but almost the bottom of the.
I think the original series had a costume like
with
that.
Undercleavage?
I think that's where. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I remember talking to Bob Blackman about it because I remember that being a thing, and he said, "Yeah, I took that from the original series. There was some costume back in the '60s."
And Bob did your wardrobe as well too. So.
As the employer of the Dabo girls, Quark being the employer, we had a very hard time keeping the same Dabo girls to come back because once they were hired, they weren't told about the costume. They were usually very voluptuous ladies. And when they got to the set and saw what they had to wear, they wore it because they needed to get the day's salary.
Yeah.
But they rarely ever came back.
Wow.
Interesting.
Especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It seems like they would have been paid, the extras that were Dabo girls would have been paid a little more for wearing those costumes and being a Dabo girl as opposed to just being a general crowd person.
Like an extra bump.
Probably, but it doesn't mean that you feel comfortable as a woman doing that. And it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's not fair that they weren't told before.
Yeah, they had no clue. They came in and this is what you're wearing. And they were like, great, I'm here. What am I going to do? Right? Okay. Yeah.
Well, Quark is behind the bar. The place is jumping and Cisco shows up. So Quark basically says he doesn't trust Cisco. And Cisco asks about the local synthale. Is it synthale? Is that what you call it? And Quark says, oh, you won't like it. He basically tells him he doesn't trust him in this scene. That was my takeaway from this scene. This is where I think Quark has put together, you were Ferengiing me. And
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he didn't want to stay. He wanted to leave.
Yeah.
He's forced to stay in order to, get his nephew's freedom. But it's not something he really wants to do. He has been indeed Ferengied. Also, we mentioned the introduction of Rom. There's another character who's also introduced in the Quark scenes that we never hear from, but he's always there, and that's Morn. Morn is there, and Morn is a unique figure on our show. He's a background person, and that's what we call extras nowadays. Yeah. He's a background person who has his own action figure doll, but never had a line, was part of the bar scene as long as I was.
And was it the same person playing?
Never had a
character?
line. The
same
whole
person. Never had a line.
Person.
They attempted once or twice to give Mark Shepard, who played Morn, the opportunity to say something.
Mhm.
But we did shoot his
Mark?
lines. But they
Mark
never-
Shepard? Mark Shepard,
Shepard,
no.
the actor
Not
from
Mark Allen Shepard, not Mark Allen, who's the actor, but Mark
Oh.
Shepard. I think I have that. I think the Allen is for the actor. Or is it
Okay.
Mark Allen Morn? I can't remember. One of them has an Allen in the middle.
All right.
And they just edited it out. They never used it.
Mm,
That's crazy.
Which was really hard for him.
I
You're
bet
gonna
it
see it.
was.
Yeah, you're going to see a surprise somewhere down the line with Dax and him too.
Okay.
Really?
Hmm.
Well, speaking of Dax, so we have a space shot. We have a station log that the Enterprise has been ordered to the Lapolis system. And they're scheduled to depart at 0500 hours after offloading 3 runabout class vessels. And meanwhile, our medical and science officers are arriving, and I'm looking forward to a reunion with a very old friend, we hear Cisco say. A very old friend turns out to be Dax and Bashier
Turns out to
coming
be
out
a
of
very
Manila.
young Terry Farrell
not
coming
an
out.
old
That's
friend.
not old at all.
If I'm not mistaken, with a lot of blush. There was a lot of blush on your cheeks in that.
Was there?
Yes.
I didn't
Was
notice
that the first scene that you shot? Like in filming order?
I do not remember.
Mm.
I feel like Ops was the first place I was actually at, but I could be wrong. I think I was traumatized in Ops first.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a scene where Dax and Bashier come off, and Bashier is smitten in this scene with Dax.
Oh my
and
God.
I love his when he says, maybe we can go for dinner or a
he's
drink.
stuttering.
Oh my
he's
gosh.
tripping over himself. He's just,
And
So
I'm just
funny.
letting him. I'm
Yeah,
not
you're-
helping him
you're just
at
letting him.
all.
Yeah, very funny. Very funny. It was a great introduction for him and for
Wasn't
you.
it? Oh,
But-
very sweet.
It was such a great scene and moment. And then there's a walk and talk with Cisco and Dax. And this is where Cisco, we realize this old friend, because Cisco says, well, he's a little young for you. And Dax says he's 27, I'm 28. And Cisco says, 328 maybe. Did you tell him about the slug inside of you? So all this information is coming out very quickly. We realize that Dax is a trill and that she is, 300. How
Dax
old
is
were
more
you?
than a trill. Dax is a thrill.
Yes, she's a thrill. Yes.
Oh,
for
and I know
Bashier,
it
she
couldn't
was.
have been my first scene. I know there's a makeup reason why that would not have happened.
Okay.
Because I used to have a forehead. I had
What?
a forehead in the original. Yes, the original makeup. They tried to give me
Like
the Trill makeup from The Next Generation. The Trill was first seen, and it was an episode with Gates McFadden starring in it, and it was her love interest. I'm sorry, I don't remember the title of that. But I had he had quite a prominent forehead. And so they
Wow.
tried to do the same thing on me. And Carrie McCluggage called and whatever. I don't know his
no forehead,
exact
no
words.
rubber on your head.
Yes, no rubber on my head.
So it was bumpy.
Which
and
actually brings up to me too that at the beginning of this episode, which I did not mention, you see that Nana has her nose, but she also had a piece of here, and it is not what ends up being in the show either. It ends up just
Oh.
being her nose. She doesn't have that piece anymore,
Wow.
which
That's
cleans
right.
up the look a lot.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot about that piece. And I went down a rabbit hole again before we recorded and saw that Michelle Forbes had played Bajoran on TNG and that they had some talks with her about maybe coming on to DS9 or something. But when I saw the pictures, there was that forehead piece. It was a different makeup in that Bajoran look.
And they wanted Famke Janssen to play Dax. And Michael Westmore took the spots from the character that Famke played on The Next Gen to put on me. They were, I guess, think they were a little different, but that's where the inspiration came from.
Oh
Wait,
wow.
Famke was
Yeah.
was a Trill on TNG? Is that what you're saying?
No, she was a different character.
She's a different alien, and she had
A
some
different
spots.
alien.
Okay,
but she had spots, and they thought those were sexy, so that's how they. But that also added another week to, like, we shot for a day. They saw the dailies and that said,
you
no,
had to
get rid of it.
reshoot.
And then we had to do more makeup tests with me, which stalled me another week.
Mm.
So everything getting crunched to that, me shooting this episode of part 1 and 2 in like a matter of a week.
Wow.
All of my stuff.
Did your pilot episode get extended? Like, Armin,
Yes,
do you remember?
Yes. It was longer than 8 days, 8 shooting days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm probably lying to you here, but my mind tells me it was like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, ours was 31 days. We had 31 days to shoot.
No, it was.
You guys must have had at least 20
longer.
something. Yeah.
It was July and August. I think it was.
I don't think you may be right, but I don't remember it that way.
Yeah, I feel like on our show, because we had the captain switch, there was a shutdown at one point. We were trying to fill the days with scenes. We had to reshoot some things.
I remember that.
Oh yeah. So I would imagine on your show with these makeup decisions and things like that, the same thing probably happened. Let's reshoot. They added days. It just sort of drifts into, longer than they anticipated. I would guess.
And perhaps the reason Terry remembers it longer than I do is they probably shot all my stuff and didn't have to reshoot it, and so I just had the days off. It didn't occur to me that they.
Because we didn't have any scenes together.
No,
not yet.
Wow.
No, right on.
Dax and Cisco take a walk, and I had a question: did Cisco request Dax coming on this because of their past history?
It's nebulous. It's we don't, and we can't tell from his reaction whether this was somebody he expected or whether this is a surprise. He might have requested. He requested, a Bajoran first, but
it was hard for me to tell. I didn't know if this was a surprise or if she had been assigned, if Dax had been assigned by someone else and it was just coincidence that they knew each other. It was hard to know whether this was.
Well, there is a scene when we're in the science office that I don't think we really see a whole lot of after, but I think there's a scene in the science office that comes up after this where I thank him for being okay with it.
Oh, so
maybe it was really the Bajoran, and then I was glad that he picked me to come in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because he hasn't embraced this job yet. He's still, thinks he's. I
and
think
my prior host wasn't a science officer. That's Jadzia. Jadzia is a science officer, but Curzon was not a science officer.
All right. Well, they take their walk and talk, and Dax assures him, "I'm the same old Dax, more or less, even though I've got a different body now." So next we go to the infirmary, where Bashier and Kira are talking about security problems, and Bashier is thrilled to be here because it's frontier medicine. This is exactly what he was looking for. I love his stuttering in this scene again. Does he do this in the whole series?
No. That disappears pretty quickly.
Okay. That's a shame. That's a shame. I was like, this is a great brand. Like, what a great bit that he stutters and he's kind of nervous and fumbly. And
is it called an infirmary because you're on a space station and not a ship? And because we say sick bay, so do you guys say was it called infirmary for you guys? Is that what you guys?
We never called it sick.
Never called it sick bay.
No.
Maybe that's a delineation
infirmary.
Between on a ship it's a sick bay, and on a station or on the land it's infirmary. I'm guessing. Okay.
I love the end of this scene when Kira leaves and Bashier looks back at her and the face he makes. He's just funny. He's like, I was like, I had no idea that Sid was the comic relief of this show, but but in this so far he was very funny to me.
Yeah, he's very funny in it.
I find that scene wonderful because I know the future relationship of the two actors.
Right.
Yes.
And
I thought about that too.
As do we all now.
There is no chemistry whatsoever, really.
None.
And I'm thinking, what time will make a difference?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That is funny.
Next we go to the lab we're in the lab. Cisco and Dax are in there. They're looking, they're using their computers to try to pull data out of these orbs or analyze these orbs. And Cisco feels like the Bajoran monks have been studying this for 10,000 years, but maybe our technology can give us some new information. And Dax decides to create a database. So we see that, that they're starting to, crack the code of this thing. Dax is going to get some information from it. And then she's talking to the computer, and then Dax decides to turn off the force field. And I thought, why would you turn off the force field on an orb? It could be radioactive. Like, you don't know. I don't know. For me, I was like, no, don't do it. But she does.
My gosh, you're so funny. You don't assume that he would have told me before he left the room or at some point about his experience?
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't know. I would just be like, if I had some alien thing that we didn't know what it was, I was like, no, but she turns it off. And the force field goes off. So she can have her
That's Starfleet all over. They just do whatever they want to do.
They just boldly go. They just boldly go.
I'm a maverick. I am a science maverick is what I am.
You and Bashier with his frontier medical stuff. He's into that too. But turn off the force field, and suddenly there's a flash, kind of like Cisco had, and she goes into a memory, hallucination kind of memory of being in the operating room. And she's getting this transfer, I guess, of the slug,
of the symbiont.
The symbiont. Thank you.
Of Dax. She's getting the Dax.
That is Dax.
Yes, that is Dax. The symbiont.
Did you notice that they didn't spell that right in the script that we're looking at, Robbie? They said symbiote. That's not right. SYMBIOT. The symbiote. It's a symbiont, right? Isn't it SYMBIANT? Maybe
Armin is our resident etymologist.
Yeah, we'll refer to Armin.
And Garrett is, I believe, absolutely right. It's symbiont.
Yeah, okay. Symbiont. But this is a happy memory that she's having. It's a really happy memory, which I thought was great.
She's the opposite of giving birth. It's the opposite of giving birth.
Yeah.
And then he's gone. Then my mentor's gone.
Yeah. Then
right.
He dies.
So then you see that moment where I'm like a little sad. Like it's a little bittersweet for me too.
Yeah.
A very nice moment, Terry.
Very nice. I agree. I thought it was. I'm glad you turned off the force field.
It was kind of fun to shoot too, because it was a weird like a one of sort of cheating sets where they have don't even have all the walls.
2 walls or something.
I love when the symbiont is inserted into you. It looks like you have like a kangaroo pouch is what it is.
Does.
Is how they put it. Like there's no blood. There's nothing. It's just like whoop, your little envelope opens up.
It goes in.
It goes right in. It's like, hey, I'm at home now. It's like really cool.
Was that symbiont like a puppet? What was it? The prop. Do you remember it?
It's like this
rubber.
Yeah, rubber creation that some amazing artists made, because it looked pretty fleshy. And
was there animatronics in there? Did it move? Did it actually have any movement to it? Because I think it was pretty still. It was stationary.
I don't think in that scene.
Okay,
but just the viscosity of the rubber wasn't like hard rubber. It was I don't know how to describe it, like rubber glue.
Like jello.
Yeah, it had a movement to it.
Okay. It was jiggly. It was jiggly.
Yes,
okay.
It was a little jiggly.
Armin, you were going to say something.
I said it was like jello.
Okay.
Like jello. Okay. I have a hope that sometime in this series, I don't yet, that this symbiont is just like walking down the hallway. Like we just see it walking down. I just want to see it moving around. Yeah, I just want it on its own. Just a little slug just going down the hall. I don't know if it'll happen, but I can dream.
I think that's Orville. That's what you're referring to now. Yes. Okay. All right.
We go to the bridge. It's the night shift on the Enterprise bridge. And O'Brien is there kind of looking around, very nostalgic about his time on the Enterprise. And this was the moment that led me to go down the rabbit hole of O'Brien had been on 55 episodes of TNG or something. I had no idea about that.
You didn't know that either, Robbie? Oh my
no,
God.
I didn't.
Okay. All right.
And there's someone on the bridge, a lieutenant, a woman, that says the captain's in the ready room. You want to go see him? And O'Brien's like, no, I'm good. That's okay. And he goes to the transporter room on the Enterprise. He's about to leave when Picard shows up.
Yeah.
and they have a nice moment. And this was the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I must have missed something on TNG.
Why do you think O'Brien was trying to leave without saying goodbye to Picard, though? That's a little weird.
Because
No.
O'Brien is the working Joe on our show and was indeed the working Joe on TNG.
All right.
Mhm.
So that's the captain. He's just he has a rank, but he wasn't, something I learned as well. He wasn't part of usually of the away team, of
the
the
senior
adventures.
staff, the senior crew.
He's the guy that gets you from one place to the next. Yes, he had episodes, but he's not part of the main team.
Got it.
And so as such, you feel, well, I don't want to disturb the captain.
He was like
I
a
thought
lower
that made
decker.
perfect
He
sense.
was a
to me.
lower decker. Yeah.
He was a lower decker.
Yeah, he's a lower decker.
Okay.
Blue
Wow.
collar.
Makes sense.
I loved this moment with them when O'Brien and Picard says goodbye to O'Brien, because you can feel the subtext of this pilot as well, this pilot episode. You can feel Patrick Stewart saying good luck with your next show, as much as, you know, as the characters are saying goodbye. I
felt with your show. As I felt with your show. When they asked me to do the scene in Voyager, I thought the same thing. I felt this is me handing on the baton to the next show.
Wow.
And that scene was with myself and Robbie.
That
actually.
was, yeah.
Oh, how amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Next we go to Ops next, and there's a Cardassian warship on a view screen. We learn Gul Dukat is approaching, and Cisco says, tell Gul Dukat I look forward to meeting him. And we jump into the commander's office, into Cisco's office, and Gul Dukat first comments how he misses his old office. So we realize he was the boss here before.
But before you jump into that, can we just say that the casting of Mark Alimo as a Cardassian is perfect? I think just everything about that man's human face just fits Cardassian for me. Everything it was so spot on. I was very happy.
Yeah.
And I've known Mark for a very long time, before TS9. His
Really?
personality fits a Cardassian.
And even his real life personality. I love it.
Exactly.
They cast the right actor.
Yeah.
They
I love
cast
that.
the right actor.
Okay.
Such a great bad guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go Robbie.
Who never played it as a bad guy, which is a tribute to his acting.
Yes.
I was
Always
going to
played
say
it as though he was the hero of Deep Space Nine.
Yes. Yes. That's why he was so good.
Yeah. Well, let's think about it. Anybody who is like you talk about mafia people, they refer to themselves as the good guys. They never say they're bad. They don't think that way. Yeah. All right, Robbie, continue, please.
Yeah, so Gul Dukat misses his old office. He's very charming with Cisco, very warm. And I thought, yes, his performance, he played it like he was a friend and a hero, but he does want information about this orb. That's why he's here. He wants to find out, what he knows about this orb. And Cisco says, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about an orb. So he's trying to Ferengi him here a little bit. He's trying to hide his treasure. Dukat basically says, we're going to stay real close if you want to reconsider and tell me about this orb. So a little bit of a chess game there, but I love that scene. I thought they were great together. We go to the lab next, and in this scene we find Dax has found some record about a ship that was stranded and had some strange experience with a hole opening up. She's found this information on the database, the historical record that she's put together. And to me, this felt like Dax was discovering like a Bermuda Triangle out here in space. It felt like something that was swallowing ships, or there was just strange occurrences happening here. But she fills Cisco in on all of this. This is where Dax wonders, is this the Celestial Temple? Maybe this Bermuda Triangle thing is the Celestial Temple that the Bajorans talk about. Cisco says, well, what's that?
The heavens open up.
Yeah. So Cisco's intrigued by this, but he says, we got the Cardassians right back, right next to us. We got to figure out a way to shake them if we're going to go look into this.
Well, actually, this was a surprise to me because I can't remember which character suggests it, but they moved the station away from Bajor.
Yes.
To the wormhole. I had totally forgotten about that. So that when I was watching the episode, I went, "Oh my God, I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was placed right next to the wormhole. I knew that the wormhole was close, but I didn't know that they had moved it away from Bajor to that part of space."
Yeah, I didn't know that the station moved the way it did, and obviously there's a lot of tech involved in how they're going to get the engines to travel them fast enough to get there. But yeah, that was.
Don't worry, I figured it out.
Yeah,
yes, you did.
Exactly.
Brains and beauty both.
She's got it all. Okay.
Yeah, we
Where
go
are
to
we?
Quark's. We go to Quark's again, and it's like a party at Quark's. The Cardassians who've showed up are partying hard, having a great time.
Way too much latinum on the tables.
Yeah, they're
Way
winning.
too much latinum.
They
on
have
the
not
tables.
lost one game. It looks like they've
Oh
just.
my
There's
God, I
like
went,
a mountain of latinum there. It was like, what the?
Quark must have been very unhappy with
Yeah.
all that latinum on the table.
Yeah, but Kira comes in and announces that the party's over. Everybody's got to get out of here. They're closing this establishment. Quark protests for a minute, but as he leaves, he's outraged. As he leaves, there's a look between Quark and Kira that I sort of thought, "Oh, is
They're
this a
planning something?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he says, "Give them something to put their winnings in." And a bag is handed over, or a backpack, or whatever it is, and they stuff the latinum in there. Yeah.
So, for me, that's indicative of the history that the two characters have had before the show starts.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I can't remember if that was my choice, but watching the episode, that's what it looks like to me. Is it's to indicate the lack of rapport that these two characters have had during their stay on the station. Because who's to say who was there the longest, whether it was Kira? Well, Kira's been assigned to it, so obviously Quark has been there longer. But in the interim, while she's been there, obviously things have not been good between these two characters.
That look definitely suggested some kind of history there for sure. Yeah, it was nice. We go to the warship, to the Cardassian warship quarter next, and these Cardassians are putting their knapsack, and the knapsack that they put all their winnings into, they're putting it into a locker. And then as they shut the locker, we see that all of a sudden this knapsack kind of starts to ooze into some orange liquid or something, and it comes out of that locker, and Odo appears like out of this goo. Odo, I wrote down, Odo is a real sneaky goo. Can he do this all the time?
No. In fact, thank you for asking that question.
Okay.
It was enormously expensive to do the morphs.
Yeah, I would think so.
Enormously expensive. So there are two in this episode. There's the one we talked about before, where the weapon
goes through his head.
And there's this one. And early on, in the first season, they recognized we can't do that. We can't, it's just too expensive. It's too expensive. So we have an overabundance of riches here. We have two morphs in one episode. And you'll see that after a while, they were very judicious about using that. Very judicious. You rarely ever saw much of that after a while.
Did they write something to that? Like, oh, if Odo has to morph, it takes so much energy, it's dangerous or something like, did they? Yeah.
No, I think what they simply did was ignore it. And when he did morph into things, I think if I remember correctly, characters would just say, or he would say, I just did that. So we didn't have to see it.
Oh, I see.
It was enormously expensive to do the morphs.
From what I remember too, he would also have to go to his pail to rest.
Yeah.
So there is an
energy. Yeah.
We will find out about this later.
Yeah, because it seems like that would be a superpower in a way that could be unmanageable for the budget. I totally get it.
Yeah.
If you've got the ability,
and that's the first use of the computer helping us tell the story, right?
Yeah.
So at that time, it was the cutting edge of the technology that we could use on the show.
Certainly the introduction of Odo and the changelings is borrowed heavily in Picard in the third season.
Oh, definitely.
Picard.
Yeah.
That's a nod to our show that the changelings are the villains in that episode, in that season.
Yeah, and we all have Terry Metalis to thank for that. So good old Terry is the one that brought that in. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Next, we go to the Rio Grande. Is that the name of the runabout?
I think so.
One of them.
One of them. Cisco and Dax are on this shuttle. They're getting ready to launch. I love the shot in space of this shuttle, of this runabout. It's a cool ship. It's good looking. I know my character was into shuttles, so from Voyager, he loved shuttles and ships and things like that. This one was very cool to me. I thought it looked super cool, the design and everything. Yeah, so we see this cool shuttle shot. We go back to ops. O'Brien says scanners are picking up fluctuations of the Cardassians' energy distribution net. So Odo's taking care of things on the Cardassian ship. Kira says the computers are crashing, shields are down. Odo did it. Ops to Rio Grande, and we're in the Rio Grande. Kira says you're in business, and so they launch. And Kira and O'Brien talk about the transporter, that Odo's going to shut down their transporters. O'Brien doesn't seem to be able to quite make the link work, so he kicks the computer.
He's Fonzie. He's Fonzie.
He's like Fonzie, exactly.
I'm gonna hit the jukebox. It's going to work. Yeah,
kicks the thing. And it works, which I thought was very funny.
That doesn't happen more. Does that continue to happen, guys?
Does O'Brien bang on
things throughout this episode show?
You know what? You're going to have to continue to watch to find out.
I love some of the bits, though. That would be a funny bit if O'Brien's always just like banging on things to get him to fix, to get him to work. I thought that was very funny.
It was.
But they shut down the Cardassian transport, so now they're safe. And after a break, we come back. Dax and Cisco are approaching the grid parameters, and they pick up these high proteins when suddenly this bright hole opens in space, and the shuttle is now being sucked into this energy tunnel. This is Journey Through the Wormhole. This is the name of our podcast. It's happening right there.
And it is the introduction to the 8th series regular on the show, which is the Wormhole.
Oh,
it is the series regular.
Is it really? Is this?
Yeah, in a sense, yes. In a sense, I mean, it never gets credit, of course, but the Wormhole is absolutely essential to the show. And although it has no lines, it is ever apparent. It is always there. It is omnipresent.
I think there should have been a credit saying "Wormhole" as played by Jeffrey Combs. That's all I want to see.
Probably would have been. Yeah,
he plays everything.
He plays it all. All right.
Yeah, but they're sucked into this wormhole, so we don't know if this is good or bad. But they're getting sucked into this very cool wormhole. Back on ops, O'Brien picks up that there's a major subspace disruption. Kira doesn't know. They don't know what's happening. Back on the shuttle, navigational readings are going crazy. Cisco and Dax don't really know what is going on here. And then Dax identifies the closest star system, which is Idrun. The computer says Idrun is based on the analysis conducted in the 22nd century by Quadros 1 probe of the Gamma Quadrant. They realize that they're in a place that's 70,000 light years from Bajor.
Is that the number? Is that right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we use in Voyager. We're in the first episode. We're thrown 70,000 light years away from Earth.
Really?
The exact same number. So okay, look at that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's their favorite number to throw people.
They like that number.
Yes. So Cisco realizes if the computer has figured out some coordinates here, that maybe this is a way out of this wormhole. And also Cisco says that they may have discovered the very first stable wormhole ever known to exist. So this is not just a temporary wormhole. This is one that is permanent, I guess. It's always there. So is that part of, Armin, what you're saying, this wormhole, because it's stable, that it becomes this?
Yes, it becomes the conduit between the Alpha Quadrant and the Gamma Quadrant. And therefore, it's like finding the passageway, the Northwest Passage. Mm-hmm. It is a way to get from one area to another the quickest way, and to promote not only interaction between various planets, but also to promote commerce, trade, and all the things that go on when you have new trade markets.
That's another knock on Barrow. Do you remember this? Fans will be like, why are you guys trying to make it back to Earth? Why aren't you just going straight to the Gamma Quadrant at DS9 and taking the wormhole back to Earth? That's,
Yeah, why didn't we do that?
If that's the right direction. Is that the right direction?
Yeah,
You
because it
can go
goes
either way.
alpha, beta,
You know,
gamma,
you know.
delta quadrant. So Voyager was in delta
okay.
quadrant. So we can get to
Wow.
gamma, then we can get to alpha really quick through the wormhole next to DS9. But we didn't
Why
even
didn't
talk
we do
about
that?
We didn't even talk
Because your
about it because
captain was eager to explore new worlds. That's
Yeah, she wanted to see. She wanted to explore
She's
every
a
nook
woman.
and cranny. Yeah.
really. Did you guys really only want to do 2 seasons? Really,
Yeah.
really?
Because we needed 7 seasons. That's why, Robbie. That's why we didn't go to the gamma
Gotcha.
quadrant. Okay.
But we detect
Great.
atmosphere.
Yes.
Do we not, sir?
Yes.
We detect
You
atmosphere.
detect atmosphere. Yes, you do. Dax says, I'm picking up atmosphere. And Cisco says, what? Inside a wormhole?
Mm-hmm.
That means that you could support life in this wormhole, which is also brand new information. And then suddenly there's a bump or a thud, and it seems like you've landed on something. Or they go outside onto this place that has atmosphere, M-class. They can walk out. But what they see is completely different. What Cisco is seeing is this rocky, scary looking place. And what Dax sees is a beautiful, idyllic setting. So that was, how did you shoot that, by the way? Did you have to shoot in 2 different places, or was it a green screen, or how was that?
I'm pretty sure there was a green screen for the Scary Planet.
I see.
We were in the gorgeous botanical gardens in, I believe, Pasadena.
Oh yeah, there's some
Isn't the
botanical.
big in
That's
Pasadena.
where they did Fantasy Island.
Huntington Gardens? Is that what you
Yes.
Something,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It was really pretty.
Hmm.
But we had to get there at like 1:30 in the morning. It was just awful.
Oh wow.
For hair and makeup and to be ready for the sunrise. And yeah,
Sure.
you know the deal.
Oh,
We know the
sure.
deal.
Yeah, they're seeing totally different things. And then suddenly they see an orb floating nearby. I love the camera move in this scene, by the way it kind of moved around the orb. It was beautiful. And that's why I asked, like, how did you shoot it? Because that was a tricky scene to be 2 different environments and moving the camera around this orb that's floating. This was very complex to shoot, for sure.
Marvin Rush. Marvin Rush.
Marvin
Kudos
is
to
such
Marvin
a
Rush.
yeah. He did a great
Mhm.
job, and this whole episode he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Cisco does try to talk to the orb, and then suddenly they're both hit with these bolts and like green energy bolts or something from the orb, and then both of the environments kind of flicker, and Dax disappears into this energy, and Cisco is just lying on the ground with this white light sort of enveloping him. And I loved this close-up. Again, Marvin Rush did an incredible job of this stylized kind of energy white light around Cisco. And we see into space, the wormhole sort of, I guess, opening up, and this orb traveling. So we're into this nonlinear time idea, I think, at this point. We go back to the station. O'Brien says he's got a neutrino disruption, and they've decided to try to move the station at this point, right?
Oh, okay. Mhm. All I know is all the bottles in my bar fell over when we moved the station. That's all.
That's right.
When we started to move it, I was in that scene, and I remember talking to Chief O'Brien about it. I remember that.
The orb is beamed into the transporter room, and the orb disappears, revealing Dax. So Dax is brought back, but Cisco's still in the wormhole there. Yeah, we see Cisco first in this white nowhere. We see Jennifer on the beach. He has a flash of that. A baseball game. We see Kai Opaka. He has all these flashes. He starts talking to the orb in this white limbo. And we see a newborn baby here. We see Jake fishing. So all of these images, his whole life, every experience he's ever had is kind of in one moment, in one experience. He starts talking to Jennifer on the beach. He asks, "Who are you?" And Jennifer, now all these characters in his memories are becoming the orb in a way. Jennifer responds, "It is corporeal, a physical entity." And now it's Picard talking to him in the observation lounge. Picard says, "It is responding to visual and auditory stimuli. linguistic communication. So this entity is starting to understand Sisko, like Sisko is slowly starting to understand this entity. In the monastery, Opaka says, "What are you?" Sisko explains, "I'm human. I come from Earth." We jump to the fishing pond. Jake says, "Earth." Sisko explains, "Well, this is what my planet looks like where Jake is fishing." And he says, "You and I are different species. It'll take us a while to understand each other." So they're really starting to get to know each other. They intercut this white limbo that I just love that shot that Marvin did. We go back to Ops. Dax is back on the station explaining the wormhole to the crew, that it's not an ordinary wormhole. It might have been driven by these orbs that may have created it. Kira says, this wormhole is so unique, it might reshape the future of this entire quadrant. So that speaks to Armin, to what you were talking about, that Kira gets it as a Bajoran. She gets the power of this wormhole, and she thinks the Bajorans have to stake a claim to it, and that the Federation should back it. That if the Federation can back this and support her, that this would be it would change the dynamic in this part of space. Dax has to figure out how to travel the station back, and this is where she's trying to figure out how to move the station. This is the scene where she and O'Brien talk about it. O'Brien says, this whole station will break like an egg if we can't make this work.
And they're also under a time crunch because the Cardassians are making their move too at this point.
So they're figuring out how to move this ship. They only have 6 engines, by the way. This ship is made to move, but very slowly. Like
station, not a station.
Or station.
Yes,
this station is meant to it's meant to be able to move slowly, but not the speed that they need to get to the coordinates of the wormhole. Next, we cut to a corridor on the station, and the team is all heading off. Odo catches up with them, and he basically in this scene demands to join them. He's like, "I was found in the Denorius belt, and I don't know where I came from, and I need to know if there's others like me." So this is where we see Odo for the first time. I felt like Odo was really revealing something a little more vulnerable about himself, that he doesn't know a lot about himself, and that this wormhole could be a key to finding out some of those answers.
And that becomes an important theme as the show goes on. And It's also the beginning it is the first creation of the Deep Space Nine away team.
Oh, interesting.
The people who join up for this particular mission are the usual away team.
For future episodes, this is the team that's going to be going out on. I see.
So that away team is comprised of Odo,
Kira, Sisko, Dax, and I believe that's it. And sometimes Bashier when they need a doctor,
and sometimes O'Brien.
But rarely O'Brien. But yes,
because he was busy doing movies.
All right.
Yes, because he's busy doing movies. Exactly.
In Ireland. Okay. All right. Got it.
Anywhere. We never knew where Cullen was. We never knew where Cullen was.
That guy's resume, truly, it's just like, what?
Amazing. Yeah.
And all from being a transporter chief. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Exactly. A lower decker.
Well, if he did 55 episodes of TNG and you guys did 172 or whatever it is, he did a lot of Star Trek episodes.
He did.
Yes, he did.
He did more than all of us.
And the movies at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Busy guy. The story comes back to Sisko basically talking with this entity from the orb about their differences. The orb comments about Sisko's aggressiveness and thinks that maybe it should destroy Sisko. And Sisko talks about that humans are the sum of their experiences, that it's not just that we're just aggressive, that as we have more experiences, that their past sort of, informs who they become. And so he's starting to describe linear time to this entity that doesn't understand linear time. They think all things are just one thing, but Sisko's going, no, we're more than that. We're our past, our future, that's the nature of linear existence. He says, you don't have to fear me. You don't have to be afraid. So I loved that conversation. Very philosophical.
One of the prominent aspects of Star Trek, all Star Trek, is to comment upon the human condition and what it's like to be human. That's an important part of the ethos of Star Trek. And here we have that in spades dealing with this episode.
Yeah.
As Cisco tries to explain humanity to the wormhole aliens.
Yeah, it was a great
Which is
scene.
not
I thought-
easy. You know, I mean, that's such an abstract concept for someone to try to explain to some aliens that you've never met before what humanity is about, that we're not there to destroy everything. It's very difficult.
And this is the brilliance of Michael Piller.
Yes. I was going to say
this
the same
is
thing.
Michael Piller at his best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and so revealing about Cisco being stuck in his past,
Yeah.
stuck at the most traumatic moment of his life.
Right.
And I think that is what is my favorite part of the whole show here, is showing his journey getting unstuck as he's explaining all of this to these beings that he doesn't know, but it feels like his life is hanging in the balance.
Yes.
And that I love too that you mentioned about Marvin Rush's making that weird glowy feeling.
It's beautiful.
It made me feel kind of embraced and encapsulated into the whole scene too. As a watcher, I felt like I was part of the urgency that Cisco, I felt like there was a bit of danger underlying this whole thing. Like if Cisco answers one thing wrong, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It didn't feel completely safe to me.
Yeah.
But his ability to really finally take in all of how he keeps bringing them back to Jennifer's dying, and finally facing all of that trauma and sitting in it. I mean, I've been in trauma therapy, and that is what it's all about, is really sitting there and facing all of that pain and letting it just be. And it's such a hard thing as a human being to sit in pain. We just naturally, to heal ourselves, want to push things away that hurt us, but we have to face them. And he does so in such a great, tender and eloquent way.
Yeah.
I really felt it in my heart watching him weep.
Oh, this was a beautiful script by Michael Piller. The concepts were very abstract, but he found a sci-fi way to really bring them to life so beautifully. I thought he did a great job. Yeah. Next, we go to Ops, and we see O'Brien is struggling to free the station and get this force field established so that it can travel on these 6 engines, these thrusters, to move the station. Armin, like you were saying, in a way that I didn't know it could do. So this is a great kind of technobabble scene about that, about the force field and stabilization, and the field looks like it's collapsing. The computer says it's going to collapse, and ultimately he's able to redirect the flow of the deflectors and stabilize the field. And I love the end of the scene where O'Brien, after fighting all of these challenges, he says to the computer, you and I have to have a little talk. So I love at the end how he sort of wraps up one of those technobabble scenes.
Speaking of the computer, I could have sworn the computer voice was Nana. Did you? Anybody?
It didn't sound like Majel to me.
It didn't sound like Majel. No.
Yeah,
was it somebody different at first, and then they switched to Majel?
I thought
maybe they were still negotiating with her.
Her contract wasn't settled.
It wasn't
I
Majel,
wasn't the
and it
last
sounded
person.
like Nana. Now we'd have to ask Nana if it was her voice, but it was a voice close to Nana's if it wasn't Nana's.
Yeah, it didn't sound like Majel. I don't know who it was, but that surprised me because I know that Majel did the computer voice for you guys.
And she did it for us the entire 7 years from
Voyager.
Voyager.
Maybe there was something, she wasn't available, or they tried something and then decided to go back to Majel.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. We go to the runabout, and Dax and Bashir is on the runabout. How many runabouts did you have? You had a lot of cool ships. I'm jealous.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't on any of them, so I wouldn't know.
I thought we only had 2. I thought we had 2 runabouts, but I could be wrong.
Any shuttle in the entire
never sat on not one shuttle. Now I had a ship of my own for one episode, but never a shuttle. No.
So
never.
instead of a landlubber, you're a station lubber. You never left there. Oh my goodness.
As Berman explained to me,
Yeah.
Quark is the station.
Okay.
Oh,
I
wow.
love it. I love it.
Well, that's a very big compliment.
Wow.
It is.
Because I think
Quark is
Berman
the station.
valued the ships and the stations more than the people often, that they were. In fact, I think he said that once to us. He said, the show is called Star Trek Voyager. That's the ship. That's the star of the show. Just wanted to make sure we all knew who was the star. So on this runabout, Dax, Kira, Bashier, they're there. Odo's there. Gul Dukat shows up. They try to talk him into turning around. They say it's too dangerous, but he doesn't want to listen, and he's going to head towards this wormhole. Any thoughts about shooting on those shuttles? Not from Armin, since he didn't go on them. But
I like shooting on them. I did
too.
I thought they were fun, and it limited their ability to actually shoot. Coverage and everything was difficult, but I think that actually helped the scenes be kind of more simplistic to shoot. So we were sort of in and out, which made it kind of great. But it was fun because it felt like being a kid and pretending. Like being totally in pretend mode. Yeah.
Gul Dukat does not listen, cuts off the transmission. He's headed to the wormhole. We're back with Cisco, and he's still talking to this entity. They hear children playing. Cisco says, yes, nothing could be more beautiful. What could be more beautiful? Which I love. That, again, family themes. He talks about the children's laughter. Jennifer, as the entity, and Cisco kiss in this scene. And Jennifer tries kissing her fingers after the kiss, which I thought was a great little detail, that the sensation of a kiss, she was trying to understand it, or the entity, as Jennifer was trying to understand it. Pleasure and physical touch. And Cisco says, yes, good feelings, happiness. That's what it is. So I love that Cisco was sharing with this entity all of the experiences of being human. It was very, again, really well done by Michael Piller. We're still in Cisco's hallucination, let's call it.
With Jennifer? You're still talking about Jennifer.
Yeah, well, we're on in the Saratoga corridor, and he's talking to the tactical officer, and then Jennifer appears there, but she's in a bikini on the ship. Do you remember that?
Yes. She's still wearing the bikini from the beach. Yes.
Why is she in a bikini on the ship? It just felt weird to me. I don't know. The fact that she was there.
They just wanted to see her in a bikini again.
I mean, she looked great in a bikini, but something about being on the ship sort of took me out of. I wish she had just, I don't know, if Jennifer had showed up in a different location, but with the appropriate clothes for that location would have.
Right. There's another section where she's wearing a dress that is less kind of jarring to be like, what is she wearing? You shouldn't have that. That shouldn't take you out of the scene. What someone's wearing.
It took me out of the scene a little bit. That's why I made the note about the bikini on the ship. Okay. Because it did feel a little weird.
All right.
Cisco's getting very emotional. The entity is saying, you exist here. The entity starts, as Jennifer starts saying, you exist here. And Cisco's getting very moved and emotional by that, because he's starting to realize that linear time, he's starting to absorb nonlinear time and the past, and all of this is still part of him. So this is the beginnings of that. We go on to the runabout when suddenly the wormhole opens, but it shuts again. So we don't know what's happening here. We come back to Cisco, and he asked the entity, what's happening? Are you still here? The entity says, there's more of your kind have showed up. And Cisco asks, is this the wormhole? And the entity doesn't know what a wormhole is, which I found fascinating. The entity's like, what's a wormhole? What is that? But the entity says, yes, it's terminated. And our existence is disrupted whenever one of yours enters this passage. So this other ship, which was the Cardassians, I think, right at this point, the Cardassians are the ones that interrupted it. So they're messing everything up as usual.
Gul Dukat has entered now.
Exactly. And the entity doesn't like that, so they've kind of they've messed it up. They've ruined this great conversation that Sisko was having. And the entity says, "Well, there's consequences for your actions, for our choices." And Sisko explains, "Yes, we're aware that every choice we make has a consequence." Sisko explains, "We don't know what the consequences of our choices are going to be." So more big ideas. There's so many big philosophical ideas in this conversation with Sisko and the entity, and it's sometimes hard to keep up with it as it jumps around.
And if I may say, that particular line, we never know what the consequences of our choices are, screamed out at me when I watched the show again this week, because I thought that was exactly what was in meta time. In they were creating a show that was different, and they had no idea what the choices, what would happen with those choices. Where would these characters go? Where would this story go? What was going to happen? I literally thought that was Pillar and the writing team subconscious speaking. We have no idea where this is going to go, but we look forward to the adventure, but we don't know where this is going. So that was one of the things I just thought, oh, that has great echoes with me.
Yeah. I think
very nice, Armin.
Yeah, very nice. I think there's a lot of those moments in this pilot where there's a story idea happening, but there's also the idea about this first episode of your series. It kind of resonates on multiple levels. And
meta. It's different.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Sisko explains to the entity about his family, about deciding to marry Jennifer, about having a child and not knowing how that's all going to turn out, which brings them to the baseball field. Sisko explains about competition, about games, and about how he and Jake play this game called baseball on the holodeck. And the entity asks, "Well, what's baseball?" And Sisko, I like Sisko's response. He goes, "I was afraid you were going to ask that. That sounds like Michael Pillar. Like
it does.
if I were to ask Michael, explain why you love baseball so much." Here we go. But he does explain the game about hitting the ball. You try to anticipate, your opponent's next move. You set a strategy for possibilities, but with each new play comes a new consequence. And that's how the game unfolds and the game of baseball takes shape. I love that Michael used baseball as part of his explanation of time and consequences and how one thing leads to the next.
And it's ironic, again, being meta about this. Your series, TNG, they were all enormously linear in the sense you went from one place to another and you dealt with what was there and then you moved on to the next one. We, on the other hand, were not necessarily linear. We would go someplace and then we might go back and revisit a relationship because everybody was jam-packed on that station together. So it's interesting that for me, we are the least linear show, whereas the shows around us were very linear.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't wrapped in a package.
That's right.
It wasn't like we started the show, oh, look, here's the problem. We're going to figure out the problem. Oh, by the end of the show, we're going to fix it all and tie it up in a bow, and there's your show.
Yeah,
that's
we
not
broke
how our
that
show
pattern,
was.
and to the writer's credit, that's what most TV is about nowadays. It's not about solving your problems in 44 minutes.
Which is far more human.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Okay, so now we have a first officer's log supplemental. They've rendezvoused with the space station at the coordinates of the wormhole, but their scans reveal no trace of either the wormhole or Gul Dukat's ship. We learn in this log 3 Cardassian warships crossed the border, headed this way. No doubt they're searching for Dukat. Back in Ops, we do see that Cardassians are arriving, looking for their missing ship. Dax says that they're flooding subspace with anti-lepton interference to cut off their communications. So basically a space battle is starting to happen here. And the Cardassians want unconditional surrender from the space station or they're going to open fire. Bashier says he can't believe the Cardassians would attack a Federation outpost like this. That would be a major aggressive move.
And I asked myself while watching, why does the space station have shields. What was the purpose of giving a mining station shields? And I went, it makes the story better and is, of course, old style Star Trek technology. But I'm going, it doesn't make any sense for a space station to have shields.
Well, this is my theory. They have shields to protect from asteroid showers, like any type of random crazy.
Oh, I like
Thank
that.
you, Garrett.
Space
Thank
debris
you
that's
very
flying
much.
through. Because it's a mining station. You don't want damage from random asteroids.
But I don't think we have shields.
No, but
you do.
There are shields.
Yeah,
We
you've
do?
got to.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got to have the shields to be able to move.
I thought O'Brien said that
it.
we don't. Oh, we
No,
do.
that's how you put the shields around, and you used your deflector or something. That's how you got the ship to move.
Yes, and later when the Cardassians are firing on Deep Space Nine, the shields are activated, and they even say shields are down to 20%. Right. So there are always been shields.
They do, meaning my character says that they're down.
Yes, your character says that.
I mean, Armin, I think you're right. Like, why would they have battle shields? But I think the writers were so used to constantly having these disaster moments near the end of every episode where you've got to have certain technologies like shields and things.
That would make sense. You don't know if someone's going to try to overrun the station.
Yeah. It also helps write stories every week where there's some
yes, let's do that.
Scary thing.
Let's do that. Yeah.
We go back to Cisco. He's in his quarters now, still talking to the entity. He asks, in his quarters, why did you bring me here? The answer he gets is, you exist here.
Yeah.
So the entity keeps saying, you exist here.
Yeah. You bring us here. You are the one that keeps bringing us back to this same time and every location.
It's keep not coming
us.
Back here.
Yeah.
And finally it hits Cisco.
Yeah.
That he's stuck in this moment, and he's got to accept that and move on. That he's got to
stop living in the past.
Stop living in the past. I guess the entity in some ways was saying, this is part of you. You don't have to hang on to it so tightly. It'll always be a part of you, but you've got to let go. You've got to trust that, yes, Jennifer is a part of you, that she is here with you, but you've got to let her go. It's a weird kind of dichotomy in a way. You've got to be able to grieve and let go at the same time.
Isn't it also explaining what they may have been trying to understand, him explaining linear time, and yet he's not honoring linear time because he's living in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is where I also earlier got way ahead of myself talking about him facing his trauma.
Yeah.
But this is the scene, though. Isn't this the scene where the light bulb turns on, where he's like, oh my God, I get it now, right? This
is the one I was talking about. So I got way ahead of myself.
To me, this was it was the moment I was looking for earlier for Cisco to grieve. And now it made sense to me. Oh, he didn't grieve because he wasn't letting go. He was stuck there, but not really allowing himself to feel the way he needed to feel to be able to move on to linear time, to be able to move on with his life. And he finally started to grieve in this scene in a way that was so healthy. And he even says, I've never figured out how to live without her. I've never figured out how to move on and live my life without her. So it was a really, beautiful scene, beautifully written by Michael Piller. And Avery did a great job. We go to Ops again. Dax says that the lead ship is hailing and wants an answer. They also, I think, mentioned the 6 photons in this scene.
Yes.
The photon torpedoes.
Yeah.
And Kira's like, fire all 6 photon torpedoes. And O'Brien's like, we've only got 6
photon torpedoes.
Which I loved.
We're not going to win this.
I ask, why does a mining station have photon
torpedoes? Again, to fire at really large asteroids are coming at you. So you got to break them apart so that your shields can sort of deflect.
And those can be very dangerous when they break apart.
They can be, yes.
Is this not originally a Cardassian station?
It is,
no,
yes.
It's a mining station. It's a
but
it's meant for mining.
But the
but they're
Cardassians are so
expressive,
warlike,
right?
so that makes sense that they arm their own station, right?
Exactly. And what if you're going to try a mining station? You could be trying to steal my mining shit.
Okay. I'm only telling you where my mind goes. That's all. Everyone must make
just
their
see
own
a
choices.
Cardassian say on the view screen, "Don't you try to steal our mining shit."
Which is what the Bajorans did eventually. They stole the mining shit.
You
shit.
see? But they didn't have any more photon torpedoes.
Yes, that's right, because they used them all on the
They
Bajoran
used
ship.
them all.
Kira shot all 6 torpedoes in this scene. All 6, they're gone.
What she was trying to this is a game of chicken. She's trying to show
she's
them
totally-
that, like, hey, watch this. We can do this to you. But not telling them that they have no more photon torpedoes. They're trying to make them think that they have a lot more armaments.
They're trying to make them, she fires off all 6.
Yeah.
Then they hail her. Basically, he says, if you can't defend yourself, we could take you guys in a second. And she has a ton of bravado. She's playing chicken.
We will remember that we'll find out a little bit later that is hinted at in this episode, but we will find out later that Kira is a terrorist. And as a terrorist, these are the tactics of a terrorist. You make grand gestures with nothing to support it later on. But
Okay.
this is what you do. You try to intimidate.
But that gives me context. Thank you, Armin. I did not.
That's important to know.
Yeah.
Well, they challenge them. The Cardassians scan their station.
He says, like, okay, your space station could not even defend itself against one Cardassian warship. And then she's like, yeah, you're probably right. And if you were dealing with a Starfleet officer, they probably admit we're in a hopeless cause here. But I'm a Bajoran who's been fighting for her whole life against Cardassians. So if you want a war, I'll give you one. So that makes him think. He's like, okay, wait a minute. Oh boy. So it's just trying to give them more time, buying more time, because they're trying to make him hesitate, right? From coming in.
She's really putting on a show. But the Cardassians scan the station and they say, well, they're using a Thoron field to block our sensors, so we can't penetrate it. What are their defenses? Jasad asks. And then they say, according to our scans, they've got 5,000 photon torpedoes, phaser banks on all levels. So their scans make it look like the station has thousands of weapons.
Right.
And is that what Odo left at?
Yes.
On the ship?
That's why they sent Odo over there.
Yeah.
To mess with their scanners and their computers. So all these pieces of their strategy and the plan as a team is coming together.
Yeah.
And Dax, we go back to ops. Dax says they're sending out messages asking for reinforcements. So it worked. They think that this station has thousands of weapons, but they don't.
Now, it's a Cardassian station. The Cardassians would know what that station is.
Yeah. And in fact, they say, how could they have possibly implemented this? There wasn't enough time for them to do this. And that's how they figure out that it was a ruse on our part.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And they even say, like, how did they do it without our knowledge?
No,
like,
they couldn't have.
Yeah.
We couldn't have.
Yeah.
They just left. It just happened.
Yeah. They do send that subspace message for reinforcements, but in the meantime, they get into attack formation anyway and start firing on the station.
They do start firing. And that's when civilians, we cut to the promenade running and screaming. And that must have been a big setup to get all those people and Dennis Matalone and Dennis Matalone, exactly. Everybody involved.
Yeah.
We go back to ops. O'Brien says, well, they must be testing us. And O'Brien thinks he could run a compression wave through the phaser banks, put out a blast that'll maybe slow them down, make them think twice. The Cardassians are doing some damage at this point. We cut back to the promenade and Bashier puts Odo's hand on someone's neck wound. And I love that Odo was very nervous about this. Do you remember this?
Yes.
He was like, Bashir's like, calm down, Odo. Odo was very, he was very.
And I don't understand that. I really don't understand.
Did that not ever come back?
No, there's no, Odo.
Do you think the changelings are grossed out by human blood? Something along those lines? That there's some
That's
weird,
what I was wondering. Is like
aversion
he's
to
tough on when in his comfort zone, but when it goes outside of his comfort zone.
If that's so,
Yeah.
In my memory, there is no other occasion where that happens.
Okay.
Where Odo was thrown by
blood,
Medical's
or
blood,
by touching another human. God knows
Okay.
he touched me enough times, but of course I wasn't human, so maybe that's
You
the
were
reason.
not.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That was the issue. He can touch other aliens, but not humans.
Just not humans. Humans.
Because they have
Humans.
cooties.
Humans.
Yeah. Humans have cooties. That's why he didn't touch.
Well, we do.
Anyway, that was very strange for me. I went, where's that coming from? That's out of outer space.
So that gave you pause as well when you saw that.
That's funny because having not seen the show, to me, I thought, oh, that's an interesting, unexpected quality
Character trait.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like they pursued it.
Yeah.
We go back to ops. It looks like the Cardassians are going to destroy this station when suddenly there's a neutrino disturbance, and on screen the wormhole opens up. We see the runabout, Sisko's runabout, towing this Cardassian warship, towing it out of the wormhole.
Mm-hmm.
And Sisko appears on the view screen, and he says, sorry, I'm a little late. Our friend Gul Dukat had some problems on the other side. Gul Dukat signals his ships to disarm. So then we go to the promenade, and Sisko's coming out. There's casualties everywhere from that brief battle.
I'm shocked no one died. I am absolutely shocked. It was just 13 injured. That's it. After all
No
that mayhem that we
fatalities,
see,
yeah.
no fatalities. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sisko sees Jake, and he's got a big smile here, and he calls for Jake, and Jake runs over Dad, and they have this hug. So I love Sisko's journey, and that he kind of bookends it here with Jake and this family moment. It was wonderful.
I know it really meant a lot to Avery to make sure, especially being a man of color, to show him being a good father.
Mm-hmm.
Really important.
Yeah. Well, it played here. It played really well here.
Sisko has a station log. He says the life forms who created the wormhole have agreed to allow safe passage for all ships traveling to the Gamma Quadrant. With the arrival of the Enterprise, the Cardassians have left the area. So here we go. Introducing the 8th series regular, the wormhole.
We've got a scene in the commander's office with Picard and Sisko again. Sisko says, regarding this conversation we had about someone replacing me, I prefer that you ignore that. So we realize he's going to stay. Mm-hmm. And they shake hands. And there's a really nice smile between the two of them, which felt great for the story, and a little bit like Picard and Sisko have a understanding that Sisko's going off with his ship, and it was just a nice launching the series moment to me. It was a very warm, supportive, understanding smile between these two captains, commander and captain. It was a nice moment.
It
and
felt
Picard's
like mutual respect.
Mutual respect, exactly.
Yes.
And it was great that happened after the earlier scene. I felt where there was still all that anger and tension.
Yeah.
That was really nice. And I love Picard's last line, "Good luck, Mr. Sisko." Mm-hmm. Again, a bit meta here, but really great. Mm-hmm. Our very last scene is on the promenade. Bashir is walking with Odo. He says, "So where can someone practice with his phaser around here?" And which I liked. Was that line about Odo not wanting weapons on the ship? Is that what that was about?
Yeah.
Probably.
It's so funny to me because that surprised me in this, like I said earlier, in this show, that there's no weapons, because we had weapons everywhere. We were just firing.
Very English. It's very British to not have weapons for security
no weapons,
people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A bobby.
Yeah.
Yes. We also have Quark and Kira talking, and Kira says, "You can't cheat every customer that walks in the door. You're the community leader now." And he says, "Maybe we can discuss these new rules over a drink."
And Kira says, "If you don't take your hand off my hip, you'll never be able to raise a glass with it again." So essentially, Quark is kind of making a little bit of a move on
tries to make
Kira.
a move.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as she walks away, Armin's line, "Oh, I
love a woman in uniform."
That's the line.
That was the line for me, not only in the episode but in the audition.
Oh, yeah, that was your audition scene.
Because I auditioned 3 times, I think, and I knew I had gotten the role when I met the suits, and there were like 31 suits the last time I auditioned. And they all laughed, and I thought, oh, good. Because and all through the audition, I'm anticipating getting to that line, because if they don't laugh, I know I'm in trouble. And
But
so
the fact
they laughed, and I felt good about myself, and then Berman came out.
Armin, in your audition, I think you knocked it out of the park, because usually in a room full of suits, maybe one or two will laugh. But if you had the entire room laughing, you killed that audition.
Well, as I said, they, for the most part, I would assume they already knew that I was going to be on the show. So as I said, I was the first person hired, and was hired relatively immediately after that audition.
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved about this pilot episode was the very last shot, and that was that crane shot that went up and showed the whole promenade. And it was the first time I felt like I had seen that whole set, that I felt like, oh my gosh, this place is enormous. The potential is enormous. I just felt like that last image was great, that we're going to get to see all of these people's lives and these relationships. And it was framed in a beautiful way. I love the way that David Carson ended the episode. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. And that's our episode.
Woo!
That's it.
We got through it. Look at that.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations to us all. Once again, we are going to talk about our theme/lesson that we all get from this episode, because every Star Trek episode has the underlying message to be how to be a better human being. So, Robbie, do you want to start with your theme, please?
Yes. For me, the moral of the story was that we all have a path to walk in life, linear time. We all have fate that we're meant to fulfill, and that we have to kind of reconcile our past before we're able to move on. That we can't get, that we can get stuck in our lives, and until we kind of reconcile that, we can't move on to what we're meant to do. That was my lesson.
Mine is similar to yours. Mine's similar to yours. I'm going to say that if you are so obsessed with the past, you are not living in the present, which means you will have no future.
Wow, you got past, present, and future in that theme.
I did. Mm-hmm. All right. Terry, I'm going to ask Terry, what is your lesson for this episode?
I am also with the two of you on, I think there has to be self-awareness for all of us, and being present and realizing when you get yourself stuck in the past. I mean, you have to pay attention to what triggers you, because that's where your lessons are with things that you need to learn. And obviously Cisco being triggered by seeing Captain Picard having to deal with all of that. That's the beginning of seeing what actually is the chasm that he's dealing with. And I think it's easy for all of us to have things like that get us stuck. Yeah.
Cool. Armin, your lesson.
Well, all those are obviously true and at the forefront, but secondarily, I would say that we all have to get beyond ourselves and learn to become community leaders.
Wow.
I like it.
Bringing it home.
We all must look beyond ourselves. There are things beyond ourselves. Recognize it and learn to help the community.
Yeah.
I like that one. One.
That's awesome, because when you get outside of yourself, generally that's when your ego gets dropped too, right?
Yeah.
Stop obsessing with it being about you. Your narcissism gets put on the back burner.
Perfect.
Great.
Wow. I'm so excited that everyone is here, but we have done it. We've gone through and we've talked about and discussed and recapped the very first and second episode, the pilot of DS9. So everyone join us next week when we will be talking about the episode Past Prologue. And for all of our Patreon patrons, please stay tuned for your bonus material.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so in our bonus area, Patreon patrons, thank you for being patrons. We love you. Let's start off with, right now, the rating. What is our rating? Overall, each one of us is going to give a rating from 1 to 10, And we're going to compare it to our Patreon patrons, what they rated their average rating. So let's start with Robbie, and then I'll go, and then we'll get to Armin and Terry. Go ahead, Robbie.
I'm going to give this an 8.5. I'm going to give it an 8.5. And just so you guys know, Armin and Terry, I think in all of the Voyager episodes, I only gave 110.
Yeah.
110 rating. So I don't give away perfect scores very easily. But this is very high, 8.5, because the ideas, the characters, the relationships, and the ideas in this really resonated for me. I wanted more. Which I think is why it's an 8.5 and not a 9 or a 9.5. I wanted more. I wanted more Quark. I wanted more the relationship with Dax and Cisco. I wanted more stuttering from Bashier. I just wanted more. And I don't know how they could have fit it in, but it was a great episode. So I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Okay. I'll go a little higher. I'm going to go 8.8. 8.8.
Okay.
Just because 8 is a very lucky number in Chinese culture. And I'm going to give 2 8s on there because I want to bless this podcast with our new co-host. So 8.8 for me. Armin Shimerman.
Well, I'm coming at this from a different place from you guys. So this episode changed my life completely. And so I have to give it a 10 because if I had not been in this episode, if I had not been lucky enough to win the lottery, I would not be here in front of you today, and my life would have been enormously different. The episode itself is good, and it's hard for me. I will be less than gracious on future episodes, but this one holds a particular good spot in my heart and in my mind because of the sheer enormity of the change in my life.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I get it.
I love it. Terry, what is your review, your number, your rating?
A 10. I went.
Wow.
Both of you just throwing 10s.
I love
out.
that you love
that.
it. Like the fact that you both gave it a 10 means it was super meaningful. It's not just the episode itself, but what it represents.
Yeah. Terry,
yes,
you're going
what
through
it
a moment.
represents is a 10, a 10,
Yeah.
a 12, a 15, 1,007, 8.
All
Terry is
the
having a moment. I want Terry to speak. Terry, speak. Some tears are coming up. Some tears of joy. Go ahead.
I remember hearing about this part that they didn't want to see me for when I got the part of the cat or the red dwarf, right? And I thought, oh, seeing the red dwarf, that was never going to be my part because it was never going to be funny being done by a straight white woman instead of an effeminate black man. So when it opened up, and I kept fighting to try to get this audition, and the journey that this took me on, and how hard the pilot was, and how hard it was to try to be with the group. Everybody had already bonded, and I felt like this outsider, and I didn't have theater experience, and I felt really shunned on one level, you know? And so to think about how this has, like Armin's saying, it changed my life. Here we are 30 years later doing this, and I'm so excited to be doing it and watching it. I miss everybody. I miss Renee. I miss Aaron. I miss Avery. I miss all of us seeing each other every day and knowing about our lives all the time. And then at the same time, I'm so enormously grateful. I remember coming over to welcome you guys and thinking, oh my God, we're all the Star Trek family. And we're like the beginnings of all of that, especially that we came right after Next Gen. And look how big it is now. It's insane. But I just enormously proud and grateful to have played the character of Dax. And to know you all. I love you, all three of you boys. I love you so much.
We love you too.
so much.
She loves me more. She loves me.
Yeah, I'm
She
guessing
does
she
love you
loves you
more.
a little bit more than Robbie and I.
I get why.
Yeah, I get it.
I know him a lot better
yes,
than I
of
know
course.
you.
but thank you for being so forthcoming and so open and vulnerable and sharing with us your feelings about this, because you're right.
It's beautiful.
And Armin made a great comment there. It is the lottery. We all all four of us won the Star Trek lottery. Think about that. That's a very small amount of people that can say they were series regulars on a Star Trek show. Clearly, with the Kurtzman era, there's a lot more now. But if you look at the golden era, so TOS, TNG, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise, that's a small amount of people, and we did win the dadgum lottery, everybody. So it's a wonderful thing. Did. Robbie, you were about to say.
I was going to say the other way that we won the lottery relates to the themes in your pilot episode and in your series about family and about community leaders and community. And because I've done a lot of different shows or work that I'm proud of that moment in time, but it came and went. The play that I did that I was so proud of, it came and went. It only lives in my memory. It's a moment in time. Whereas this lottery that we won, it's a life, it's a community, it's a family. It hasn't gone away. It's still here. So I really,
and continuing to grow, like how you guys creating your Delta Flyers, and then us joining you is
and it's beautiful to see this grow and change and evolve and be so inclusive. And I guarantee you, as we do this podcast, we're going to bring in people that worked on the crew. We're going to slowly find people that are going to add to this story and remind you of things that you'd forgotten about. And it's that was the gift that I got on our Voyager version of the podcast, was a whole new love and appreciation and so much more gratitude about what I was able to do. I knew I was grateful for it in some ways, but it just got exploded and expanded by this podcast. And
I'm also looking forward to getting to know both Armin and Terry better through this process, this journey that we are about to embark upon. We are going to get to know them better, because before this, it's really been, we'll see them at conventions like, hey, what's up, Armin? Hey, what's up, Terry? What time is your autograph? Oh, okay. When are you going to do photo ops? Okay, great. You want to have lunch, dinner? But we didn't really dive deep. And I feel like this is going to be a really nice chance for us to become closer as human beings.
You will get to know us as opposed to our characters.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Excellent.
Okay. Oh, what is the group rating? What is the group rating of the Patreon patrons? What are they?
After all of this love and hugs and tears, I just want to warn you. I want to warn you.
They gave it a 4.
That often we will love episodes and the fans won't, or vice versa. Sometimes I'll hate an episode and I'll be like,
fans
what?
Love it. Yes.
How do they love it? So I have no idea.
I'm so curious.
I haven't opened it yet. The average majors, captains, admirals, and prophets, all of them voted, and the average rating 7.8. 7.8.
Wow.
I'd like to talk to that, and it's not surprising. It's not surprising. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying they're wrong at all, but understand that for a lot of people, when our show premiered, there was a lot of people who didn't much care for the show. And it was the pilot that turned people off. People didn't say, this is not Trek. They don't have a ship. They're dealing with religion. They're dealing with things that aren't what we're used to in Star Trek. And I'm not saying, now granted, a lot of these people hadn't known our show for a long time, but it's not surprising. We dealt with that for 7 years, that people said, this isn't our Trek. This isn't what we think Trek is about. We were able to change people's minds, some people's minds, with the reintroduction of Worf. Worf actually changed, because people came to see the show because Michael was on it.
Yeah,
that was season 4.
And that was season 4, right?
Yeah.
And you're being very kind about how you're saying this.
Yeah.
Because some people out and out hated it and were really angry.
Yes. But I will say, for those that are the diehard DS9 fans, DS9 sits atop a mountaintop in comparison
that's only
to
in
everything
hindsight,
else.
Garrett. That wasn't happening when we
at
were
the time
airing.
to the pilot, when you're airing. Yes.
If I may tell you a story, which is Terry went through it very badly. This is what she's been hinting at. She got a lot of notes from Berman. We all got notes from Berman, not as much as Terry. And Terry, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Thank you.
But I got notes too. And one of the things that I did in this episode that I never did again was use my Ferengi voice from Next Generation. So, the way I spoke on Next Generation as a Ferengi was this way. It was always a little like that. It was always something there, which is in this episode.
There is some of that, yeah.
Here. And I went into Berman's office, and Berman said, "You're saying commander. You're saying commander. He said, "We already have an Irishman. We don't need two." And he said, "And lose the voice," and which I'm enormously grateful for, because it would have killed my throat.
Yeah.
But so this episode, I speak like a TNG Ferengi, and in fact, I growl at
I meant to ask you that in the recap.
Never did that again.
I don't remember.
Because that's old TNG Ferengi.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I won't say commander anymore. And then they made it easy for me. They made him a captain, so I didn't have to say commander after a while.
It's interesting. That's the scene that we did together for Voyager, Armin, in your bar. It was those dailies and that scene, and the fact that you calmed me down. It was that scene that when Berman was looking at those dailies, he was like, all right, we've got a star for our show now. So it kind of helped me in a way what you did. So thank you for that. I just want to say
you're welcome. You're welcome. It was a great honor. That sounds very highfalutin, but what Picard does in our show in the episode we just did, I thought was my responsibility for your show.
Yes.
And I'm very honored to be in those shoes. And I think I remember saying to both of you, just take it easy. It's going to be a long run.
I remember that.
Just have a good time. Just have a good time. Which it took me a long time to learn. And so it was very obnoxious of me to pass that on to you, but it is something I had learned.
Yeah. No, you were very calming. Garrett and I were both nervous for different reasons and different levels, but I remember Garrett being terrified, because I think that was the first scene that our pilot shot, was the scene in.
No, I don't think it was.
No, it was.
It was the tomato soup scene. Wasn't that the first?
No, we started at Quark's and then we moved.
Then we moved to tomato soup. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was your first day of work on the series?
That was the
first day of work on Voyager.
God,
was
you had
the
to stare
scene
at me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It was a perfect way to start, though, Armin. It was really perfect.
It was. To have you christen our show in effect was awesome.
Thank you. I did notice, and maybe Terry did too. Maybe there were a lot of aliens on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
And some of us had a lot of makeup. And when we had guest stars or day players who came in, you could see their eyes shifting. They didn't know where to look because there was just a lot there to look at. Yeah. And you could see the eyes shifting. They just didn't know where to look. And I'm sorry that was your first day, that you had to deal with an alien.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
Yeah, taking it all in.
It was special. It really was. Okay, let's move on to our winners and losers section.
Yes.
Right. So right now, Robbie and I will begin just to help you guys get into the flow of it, and we'll follow up with Terry and Armin on that one. So who is your winner? And this could be comedic or serious. Who is your winner for this pilot episode, Robbie? Who is it? Who's the winner?
Well, I was gonna say Cisco, but I last minute changed my winner to the orb. I think the orb, because if it wasn't for the orb, kind of bringing this insight, Cisco would not have made the changes he needed, and he wouldn't have gone on the path. So I think the orb got Cisco a win. So the orb.
Okay, all right.
How about you?
My winner is Jake Cisco, because his father was so stuck in the past, and finally this new posting has enabled him to release that past so that he could be a better and more present father to Jake Cisco.
Yeah.
That's my winner. Terry, you want to have a winner for us?
Can I be a winner?
Yes,
sure.
You can.
Dax
I
is
want
the
to
winner?
say that I think maybe Dax is the winner for finding. I love how you're laughing at me, Armin. for finding the location of the wormhole.
Yes. Otherwise, yes, the 8th series regular would not have been the 8th series regular. Okay, good. Armin, who is your winner?
So, in a humorous vein, the winner is Mark Shepard as Norm. As
Morn. You just called him Norm.
Yeah, as Morn.
From Cheers.
Yeah, from Cheers, exactly.
Because he too, that changed his life.
Okay, let's have our winners from majors, captains, admirals, and prophets. They picked as their winner Captain Sisko. Oh.
Robbie, who's your loser?
My loser is Picard as a Borg. Because he's the killer of Jennifer. And so I'm mad at him, so he gets to be the loser. Not Picard, normal Picard, but, Locutus or whatever his name was.
Now, I'm going to differ with you on that. I know that you don't do that here, but I'm going to tell you why. Now, Picard may be the loser, but I can only tell you that Patrick Stewart was the winner. Here's why.
Yes.
Having been a union official, I know this to be true. And when you play 2 different characters on an episode, you get paid for each character.
Oh.
And so he played 2 different characters.
Yes.
Locutus, whatever.
Locutus of Borg, yes.
Yes. And Picard. Yeah. So he got 2 salaries.
He got double paid?
Yeah, double paid.
Well, also, he's probably the richest person in this room.
See,
I would say so.
I'm not worried about him. He's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the loser. Oh, well, when you call on me, I'll give you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Who's your loser, Garrett?
My loser is the station because it has no more photon torpedo. It has nothing left. That's my
All
loser.
6 torpedoes are
All
gone.
6 torpedoes were just shot out because of because of Kira. All right. Armin, now I'm going to ask you, who is your loser?
The loser is Michael Dorn. Because Michael wasn't there at the beginning.
Okay. All right. He loses out. All right, Terry. Who's the loser of this episode? Serious or comedic? It's up to you.
I think the Cardassians, because they're never going to have control again.
Yeah, that's true.
We will not
and they
allow
built
it.
that station. That's their architecture. So
resistance
it's gone.
is futile.
Yeah.
Never mind. You cannot take us over.
Okay. All right. According to our majors, captains, admirals, and prophets, our loser is Dukat. Now we are at that segment of our podcast. Missing scene. Exactly. So, Robbie, what is your missing scene for this pilot episode?
My missing scene is a Quark scene. I really feel like before we only got to meet Quark after Nog tried to steal the stuff. And I think on the theme of family and relationships and all of that, I really would have liked to have seen a Ferengi moment, a short scene or something with Quark before Nog tried to steal the stuff. I think that would have been a great character setup. Yeah. That's my missing scene. What about you? What's your missing scene?
It's not a missing scene. It's just, it goes back to that whole point, the whole point that I made or I brought up talking about Kaiopaka and Cisco and how she just immediately just sticks her hand all over his face. I mean, I feel like there should have been some other, either blocking or other dialogue that would have kind of made that transition a little smoother because it looked very awkward to me. So that's it for me.
Okay.
All right. Let's move it on to Armin. What is your missing scene?
So I am going to steal some of Terry's thunder here. I think there should have been a scene explaining more of their past relationship.
Dax and Cisco?
Dax and Cisco. I think we should have had something where they were discussing past events, where they could refer back to mutual experiences. I think that's something that should have been in the episode and wasn't.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I have to say I agree. I think there should have been me at least saying, how's Jake, especially if I was his old man mentor. I'm really confused, especially if we haven't been in touch, why we maybe even didn't have a moment about Jennifer. Just something like, how are you? Or I'm sorry for your loss. Or it was just a little out of step that the first thing was him dealing with my physicality rather than, I don't know. It just seemed
your shared memories and history.
Yeah. We suddenly went back to Star Trek treating women like a sex symbol rather than really what ended up being Deep Space Nine. Nana and my characters really are the first two really strong female characters. And I would say Nana and I are both incredibly proud of that. And I'm really proud of the show for that and the creators, and Michael Piller created my character. But yeah. And I think it's a through line that was missing anyway. If I was his mentor, I would be close to Jake. I would know Jake.
Yeah.
So is that your add-on to what he said, or is that also your answer for missing scenes too?
No, it's also my answer for missing scene.
Great.
Yeah.
And I do think that, with your character and Nana's character having those strong female roles, that really kind of opened it up for Voyager to have their strong female characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Know what I'm saying? You guys laid you really did sort of like clear the path for us in a way, if you think about that.
Well, maybe they already knew that was coming.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Piller didn't say this would be helpful to set it up for. Because
looking at the long game.
They're really forward-thinking guys in terms of telling a story for sure.
The missing scene, according to majors, captains, admirals, and prophets, the winning one is submitted from James Amy. Sisko confides in Dax about his interaction with Picard after the wormhole experience and realizes Picard is likely just as traumatized as he is about Wolf 359.
Oh, I like that.
The very last segment is our questions from our Patreon patrons. We are calling this Questions from the Wardroom. That's what the title is right now. So starting with Eric M. Eric M says, this episode deals a lot with trauma. How do you feel this episode handled this subject, especially given that it is much more socially acceptable to talk about your traumas openly now than it was when Emissary was released?
Well, certainly Cisco is undergoing trauma, and we have mentioned this already, is that if you can talk about it and get through it and realize that you shouldn't hold on to it and let it stymie you, that's a healthy thing to do.
Yeah, I love that this is the tip of the iceberg of what our culture starts to accept. I think there are quite a few things in our show that we'll come to find out that sort of it's the beginning of creating the social environment that's accepting of this.
Yeah, I think Eric's right that times have changed a lot, and this was very sensitive kind of topics to get into, especially I think there were a lot of things like Avery being the first African American captain, commander, and then having that character dealing with an emotional kind of internal struggle and trauma in that way. It was very risky, and I think it's
feeling the responsibility that he had to be a good dad.
Yes.
This is not the way to bring up my child.
Yeah,
that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah. And what were our shows preceding this that showed a good dad was the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
A man of color being a really good dad. And we didn't, and I think that I know he felt an enormous responsibility about that. And I'm really glad he did, because it's important to see a good dad, no matter what race that dad is.
Right.
Right. All right. James A asks, Terry, it's known that they changed the Trill appearance from the forehead prosthetic to the spots for DS9, and also that they played with your hairstyle a lot. Did you find this development process for the look of Dax useful to help you find the character's voice for your performance, or did you find it more of a distraction annoyance?
Wow. I think what was exciting for me was feeling like I was part of the creative process with Michael Westmore doing it and spending time with him. And most of my makeup tests were done on the set of Next Gen. So I got to hang out a lot with that cast.
Oh,
and crew.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I kind
wow.
of felt like I should be working with them because I kept seeing them and having to be in front of their crew.
Right.
And but as for getting in the way, it only got in the way so much as it gave me less and less time to actually prepare for what I was going to have to shoot.
Right. Right.
So that's how it got in the way.
Interesting.
But thank you for the
Westmore-
question.
Westmore once told me recently, actually, that every one of those spots on Terry's neck was all freehand. I always thought there was a stencil, but there wasn't. There was freehand. So they're never identical.
No.
From episode to episode, or even scene to scene. They aren't necessarily the same spots in the same place.
Interesting. Did Michael do those every time? Did he do it himself, or did someone else do the spots?
Would you like to answer that, Armin?
No, you know better than I do. Although I watched it, but you were there.
He did until your show started, and then I think he realized a few times that because he was sick a couple of times and had to come in just to do my spots, that and then it got complicated with me coming in and having to wait for Kate to get done so that I could have my spots done. Right. So,
right. Got complicated.
Then he started training another makeup artist, Karen, to do it for me.
Karen Westerfield?
No. I can't think of her last
else.
name.
Okay.
I feel bad. I can't think of her last name right now.
But someone took over.
The first time he did that, I said, "This is like art. You should sign it." And so he started signing it. So every show, when you're watching it, underneath my turtleneck is Michael Westmore's signature on my neck.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, so I couldn't have answered it.
I think he should have signed it and numbered it. Like, this is the 137th hit with the number of how many applications it was. I love that.
And in Roman numerals.
In Roman numerals, even better.
Yes. Yeah. It was cool.
So funny.
I love it. Okay.
As he was telling me about Seinfeld.
All right. Next question. Tim Newmark says, Armin, you've said that you were disappointed in your Ferengi performances in TNG. What conscious changes did you make for your performance of Quark to make the character and possibly the entire Ferengi species more appealing?
Yeah, I hated what I did on Next Generation. I hated it. Not all of the episodes, certainly the first Ferengi appearance. God awful. Oh, atrocious. Just embarrassing. And so my whole agenda, much to the chagrin of the writers, I believe sometimes, was to make my character, and by extension, the Ferengi race, more noble, more caring, more three-dimensional than the one-dimensional performance that I gave on Next Generation. It really was my agenda. Once I was cast and gotten over that hump, my whole attitude was to give this character and this race a three-dimensionality that they had never had on Next Generation. And I've heard from Ira since that often was in conflict with the way they saw the character. Now, lots of times we were in sync, absolutely, but sometimes they realized Armin's just not going to do that. He's not going to play the fool. And so we're just going to write that for Max. We're going to write that for Rom, who was more than willing and brilliant at it. Brilliant at it. So they would just say, okay, the more noble's the wrong word, but the more
dignity? Is it dignity?
Dignity, thank you. The more dignified performance we'll give to Armin, and the more comedic we'll give to Max, to Rom, and sometimes to Aaron as well. Although Aaron, I think, became one of the most noble characters on the show. So.
I would say that, in my humble opinion, that Dax thought of you because Dax and Quark got along really well. I would say that you were a man of Ferengi of integrity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was aiming for. And as I said, I don't think the writers would have liked that all the time. The time.
Right.
Well, that's okay. They didn't like what I did all the time either.
Exactly.
They wanted me
good
to
company, Terry.
Right? They wanted me to be way more stoic and less, cards closer to the chest. And I just thought, at 350 years old, I would want to kill myself if I did not if I was not engaged and curious and love life, to just like, can you imagine the abandon you'd have to have about how much you love life if you live 350 years?
Yeah.
And had learned not to take everything seriously.
So seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if if they wanted you to hold your cards closer to the vest, it's sort of, if you think about when people get older, when the older they are, the more they're like, screw it. Like the older you get, you're like,
Right?
I don't care. I'm old. I can say whatever I want. So it should have been the other way. It should have been more. Your character should have been less close to the vest at 328 years old, right? And I love it. I love, Armin, that the fact that they didn't rein you in. They saw what you wanted to do with the character, and they're like, fine, okay, we'll pivot. We'll keep our idea of Ferengis and let Rom do that part, and let you add more nuance, more layers, more color. And they
really
didn't say,
smart.
no, wrong. You better rein that in. So thank God that they saw some.
Let you do it.
That doesn't mean they didn't say it.
Well, they didn't say it to me. I only learned this years later. I only learned this years later. I don't know about your set. And Terry had to go through, going to the head office in the beginning, which I was lucky enough not to have to do. But they, as I said to Ira when he was telling me all this, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't someone take me aside and say, we really like what you're doing, but we'd like you to do a little bit more of that? I'm a good enough actor. I could have said, okay, that's an idea. I can try that. But they didn't. There was this hard rule that the writers and the actors were to be kept apart, at least for the first 3 years. And we, Terry, do you remember that Christmas party where Ira introduced the writers to us on a stage at Parks Park, and we didn't know who they were.
I didn't know their
They had been writing
names
for us for 3 years.
I felt so
we
bad.
had no idea.
No, and we felt really bad about it. But it was also, I felt like Rick Berman and Michael Piller were my bosses. They were the two that communicated to me. I never talked to a writer in the beginning other than Michael Piller.
It's much more common, Robbie, now, right, for writers to come down to the set. But I think back
writers
in the day,
are very involved.
The Voyager the DS9 days, they just didn't show up. And I'll say right now, in 7 years of Voyager, I saw Rick Berman once on our set. So
yeah, but it was the production. It's not always true. I think there are a lot of situations where writers are there because it's also, they come down. That's what they do.
They produce,
They
usually
produce too.
Writers are part of the producing team, and they want to shepherd their story all the way through the process.
Right. And it makes sense that this production decided that way for them to stay in control, or maybe for Mr. Berman to stay in control. It was more about him being the lead counsel on speaking to the actors and then speaking to the writers.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, Armin,
Well, Ira told me recently that it's his great regret that he didn't spend more time on the set. But it was impossible. We know how far away the writer's room was from the set.
And he had an issue with his leg.
They have legs.
At the
time.
They
have bicycles. They have a golf cart. Sorry.
Ira. Yeah.
Ira had an issue with his leg at that time.
Oh,
that's right.
Okay.
He walked with a cane.
Yeah.
But they had golf carts. Now. They had golf carts. They could have.
Yeah, that's true.
But they also had responsibilities, Garrett. That's what Ira told me.
And 26
as a showrunner,
episodes,
he had a lot of responsibilities.
Yes, that's true.
And 26 episodes a year to write.
Yeah.
And how long is our break? A month and a half was our break, and they didn't have a break. They wrote through that.
Yep.
So, holy cow.
Robbie, next question.
Next question is from Stacy Davis. Stacy asks, for Armin and Terry, did you or other DS9 cast members get any advice from the TNG cast or crew as you prepared to shoot your pilot?
If I may take that first, Terry.
Yes.
Yes, I did get advice from one of the TNG members of the cast, which was invaluable. And that was the guy who played Letek in the first Ferengi episode, me. That actor, as I just mentioned, just told me you need to change the way you play Ferengi. But no, aside from that, no one. Actually, that's not true. When I did that first Ferengi episode on TNG, I knew Brent Spiner from before Star Trek, and the show had not appeared yet. It was one of the early episodes, and I asked Brent what he wanted to do with Data, and he said to me, I want to take the character with the least amount of potential and make it into the character with the most amount of potential. And that piece of advice did stick with me from when I started to play Quark.
Oh,
And that's a piece of advice I think Bob Picardo took on our show in a way.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Terry?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Terry, any advice that you got?
From
Oh, my
TNG
gosh.
actors?
Yeah, I mean, when I got the part, when they said I had the part, and then they sent me to Michael Westmore, what was great is I had worked with Jonathan Frakes on a TV series called Paper Dolls.
Oh.
Yeah, and I knew Michael and Marina from a mutual friend, and so they knew I was auditioning for it, and they came down to congratulate me, and I, of course, cried my eyes out because I was like so proud and excited to be with my friends. I think I cannot specifically remember. I remember before auditioning, I can't remember some piece of advice other than Renee getting upset with me during the pilot and saying the way you because it was hard for me to memorize everything. Also, I hadn't had much sleep and I was really nervous, but I had all these big speeches. And Renee Auberjonois was just like, you just got to read it over and over again. It's like, but that's what I'm doing. And, you know, they change one word and it's like your whole brain goes,
Yep.
you can't just change one word. And I can hear in the pilot, I could hear myself struggle to say the words. I could hear that in my performance, that why it doesn't seem as confident is because it's not, because to change one word, the amount of focus it takes to try to really remember it is so enormous. But I don't know. I can't think of one thing. I'm sorry. It was just, I felt very supported by my friends and by people that I'd met from Next Gen. So I felt supported by Next Gen coming into it, but I can't think of one solid piece of advice.
Yeah.
That I went, oh, that's the nugget I'm holding on to.
Yeah. I can't remember any specific pieces of advice either when we started, but
I wish I could, because
I
maybe
know. I know.
but
me
they
too.
were there for me all the way, you know.
Yeah. Okay, the next question is from Mars. Mars says, Terry and Armin, are there different acting choices you would have made in the early episodes if you'd known what your characters would eventually develop into?
Probably, yes. Experience teaches you that. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
Sabrilu has a question. Sabrilu is Sarah, Sabrina, and Luce from our previous Delta Flyers. They're one unit.
They love Paris and Torres, Robbie's character, and Roxanne Dawson's character. And so I put all their names together and said Sabrilu for Sarah, Sabrina, and Luce. And their question is, Robbie.
Their question is, what was your experience or knowledge of Trek before being cast? And had you experienced a big fandom before?
I will answer that first. Yes, I had been a huge Star Trek fan. Watching the original show, I was dedicated to that show. I watched it every moment I could. And in fact, I remember early on in the early days of the show, other actors knew that, and they would come up to me. I remember one actor, can't remember who, said, "So you know the show? What's a Klingon?" Yes, I was very familiar with the franchise. And what was the second part of that question?
Experience with fandom before.
Had you experienced a big fandom before that?
And that too, I was somewhat experienced with and knowledgeable about. I had been part of a sci-fi show called Beauty and the Beast, which had fandom and conventions, and I was able to.
I didn't know you did Beauty and the Beast. I should know that.
A very recurring character on Beauty.
I didn't know that, but Roy Dotrice I did a series with Roy and was very close with Roy, and
so was I. I was very close. Yeah, very close.
Loved Roy Dotrice.
So did I.
And Linda Hamilton is still a good friend of mine. So
give her my regards. I've seen Linda infrequently, like this episode with Dax. Quark has nothing really to do with Dax in this episode. And I had many episodes on Beauty and the Beast, but I never worked with Linda. Because it was by far.
Well, you knew fandom because they had fans. Yes, they had culty fans that just loved that show. Yeah.
And Armin, you were also part of Buffy, which has a massive fandom as well. So there you go.
And that came at the same time. I had already started Star Trek, but they were going on at the same time.
Yeah.
But Beauty and the Beast taught me about fandom.
Wow.
Okay.
What about you, Terry?
Were you a fan of Trek beforehand?
Yes, I was. We used
Quick
to,
answer. Yes.
Yes. Well, we played Star Trek in the play yard in my elementary school, and I was always the alien from another planet. Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes, and the shortest kid in
Foreshadowing.
the school was Captain Kirk, and I was the tallest girl forever.
So you were the tall
And-
alien.
Yes, and I was crazy about the show, crazy about
God.
Leonard Nimoy, actually.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
I
Okay.
know.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. And fandom, I was a model when I was from 17 till I was 20. I was a top
very
model.
successful model. A
Yeah.
very
Yes,
successful
yes, you
model.
were.
And so when I got this TV series called Paper Dolls, it happened during the 84 Olympics. So there was a commercial for me for TV Guide. There was a commercial, I think, I did a TV Guide commercial. We were plastered everywhere. And it was more that people were putting a name to my face because they hadn't realized they'd already seen my face for 3 years on magazines and selling everything from feminine protection to mascara and soap and shampoo. And so my face had already been, so when Paper Dolls came out, I couldn't go anywhere.
Wow.
I literally, there'd be people around my car when I got out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was crazy. So explains me being a little more reclusive. Armin knows I don't really go out a lot and stuff. It just makes me feel really uncomfortable. And so when Deep Space Nine started, one of the first conventions I did, I had like 5 bodyguards is what I remember in Florida, taking me out of the convention center. And it was like, okay, this is too much for me.
That's
that
crazy.
really, I'm not a big crowd person.
Yeah. All right. Next question from Amy T. What was the casting process like for both of you?
I had 3 auditions. The first one was, I believe, relatively early on in the casting process for the show itself. And then there was 6 weeks of utter silence. 6 weeks. 6 weeks of nothing. And by that time, I thought, oh, it's over. I didn't progress any further. And I thought that was really strange since I had created this race. And then the second one, after 6 weeks, they called me in, and I met the wonderful character actor Max Grodenchik. We both auditioned for Quark, and I waited for him on the steps of Paramount, and we had a long hour's talk where we got to know each other better. And then the third one was, they brought us in, and by us I mean all the series regulars except for Terry were sitting in a room together. There was nobody else there, but it was an audition. They brought all of the rest of us in, and I believe we were Berman's choices, and we were just supposed to show the suits that we could do it. And then when I finished and got my laugh on I Love a Woman in Uniform and came out, Berman came out and told me that they had written the part for me. And then hours later, they cast me.
Wow.
Terry?
Well, long story longer. I wanted to read for it, and this was like in the springtime when it's pilot season. It used to be pilot season. I got a part on another show, and then they didn't pick the show up. And so it opened me up in the summer to find another job. And they finally wanted to see me in August. And they were down to, there was like nobody else left for them to see in Hollywood. And I auditioned a couple of times, I think, before I actually came into the room and read for Rick Berman and like a whole table full of people. And I'm sure the suits were there too. And that's when an actress didn't show up. And then I had another week, which I'm sure I lost another 10 pounds before that audition. But in the first audition, I remember I was so nervous. I got some of my words mixed up. And Rick Berman was really kind. And he's, don't worry about it. Just start over. And it was like, okay. And I couldn't say Jadzia right. I don't remember how I kept saying it, but it was like one of those words that once you get it right, you can't remember how you said it wrong. But I just, I don't remember. But at any rate, because this other actress that I felt very competitive with was coming in the next go around, I campaigned for myself to come back in again and read again. Because I thought, well, even though I was nervous, if I can do this part, I'm not afraid to come in and do it again.
And they gave you a second. You came in again. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
because
rare.
if you
That
want to
doesn't
come
happen all the
play and
time.
create, no. But if you want to play and create, you want to keep showing up and proving that you want to come play and create.
Well, good for you to take that initiative and get that
Thank you.
that second meeting too.
Lucky us. Lucky us.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. Robbie?
Really
Okay.
lucky us.
Okay, Steph Lee asks, what was the process like to determine the initial looks of your characters?
Oh God, mine's way too long.
Well, you've talked about it some already. You've
You
talked
had
about
the thing on
the
top.
forehead and the different
Gone,
screen tests and
right?
things.
Yes, but that we haven't even gotten to my breasts.
What?
Oh, wow.
Mm.
We may have
Yes.
to save that for a special episode.
Yeah, special episode. We'll talk about what
Okay.
Terry went through.
Okay. Cool.
It was not pleasant.
Something to
But
look
I'm
forward
here.
to, Patreon patrons.
So, Steph Lee, we're going to hold on that with Terry. And Armin, is there any discussion?
Very quickly,
Yeah.
as quickly as I can, the original Ferengi had 7 pieces on Next Generation, and
Wow.
Michael got it down to 2 pieces for Deep Space Nine. And when I started, it took 4 hours to put it on with the wonderful, creative, lovely, funny Karen Westerfield as my makeup artist. And within about a month or so, Karen got it down to 2 hours, where it stayed for the next 7 years.
It's amazing.
Wow. That's amazing.
It
Good
is
job,
amazing.
Karen Westerfield.
Karen Westerfield is now the executive producer, I think I have the right title, of the Makeup Artists Union.
Wow.
Really?
He is?
Well, I-
Yeah.
Yay, Karen Westerfield.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Well, I can't wait to get Karen on this podcast so we can talk to her about it. I think
Exactly.
It's going to be wonderful. All right. Shambhavi is the next person who has a question. And Shambhavi says, which do you prefer? The Cardassian design aesthetic or the Starfleet design aesthetic? Do you like Starfleet or do you like, I mean, I guess most of the time you guys worked with the Cardassian.
I like
design aesthetic.
Cardassian. I know they weren't asking me, but I love your set. I
do
love the
too,
Cardassian, the textures and the layers and the dark
Yeah.
edges. And it's, to
Yeah.
me, that's
Real
more interesting.
masculine. Yeah, real
maybe that's
masculine.
what it is.
I like that. The only I think Starfleet design in our show that I was personally in love with because I flew it was the Defiant. And I know we're not there yet, but
Yeah.
But otherwise, I really dug our sets. I thought
Okay.
they were really freaking cool.
Yeah, really cool. Armin, did you have a preference?
No.
Okay.
No.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. So now these are our questions from the Celestial Temples. We have 2 areas of questions, and these are from our prophets. We have 10 of these. Robbie, go ahead.
Yeah. Prophet Jason Okun says, by the way, we're going to call our prophets respectfully by their prophet
names.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
Prophet Jason Okun says, sorry, Jason, I'm not laughing at you being a prophet. It's awesome. Okay. Prophet Jason Okun says, in just its teaser, Emissary has a greater number of dynamic shots than the entire first season of Next Generation combined. Wow. There's a cinematic quality to the first few minutes of this episode, and it's interesting to compare it to The Best of Both Worlds, directed by Cliff Bole. Considering where we are in the timeline of the Berman era Trek, I wonder if this aberration was greenlit because we were dealing with the pilot and Rick wanted to grab the audience from the very first shot. Thoughts?
I would imagine so.
I think so.
Sure. Yeah. We all know that Rick likes to say this is motion pictures.
Yes.
And so, yes, he wanted all that motion. He wanted to grab the audience, because he wanted to have lightning twice in a bottle. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but did he not have that thought during TNG era? Did he only come to motion picture idea on DS9 and Voyager? Because Jason's saying that there were very little dynamic shots in the first season of Next Gen.
Well, Gene Roddenberry was alive.
You can't blame
right?
Rick for that because he wasn't in charge. That was
so he didn't
No.
take the reins over until after he passed. Then is what you're saying.
Sure.
Okay, got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Roddenberry's aesthetic was very proscenium and very old school, traditional. I think Rick modernized the franchise a lot, at least in the era that that he was running it.
Got it.
Yeah, for
Makes
sure.
sense. All right. Prophet Andrew Duncan asks, Robbie, what areas do you pay more attention to when directing a pilot than an in-season episode, and how well do you think David Carson delivered against these areas?
Oh,
this is for you.
Yeah. I've directed 4 pilots in my lifetime, and directing a pilot is a whole different ball of wax than directing an episode of television. In an episode of television, you're looking at that pilot as the mold, and you're trying to replicate the choices they made. When you're directing the pilot, David Carson had to really create all of this style and tone and the look of this show and all those things from scratch. I mean, David Carson probably looked at TNG work, episodes that Rick Berman and Michael Piller were saying, these episodes we want to kind of replicate some of this and some of that. But David Carson had to put all that into one recipe and put this show together. So very, very different kinds of focus and directing for David Carson on this pilot, for sure.
But he did a good job, though.
He did a great job. I thought he did a fantastic job. Yeah.
Okay.
Prophet Feroza Mehta says, "You exist here is what the prophets keep telling Cisco. What would you say to someone who exists here or has difficulty living with a life event?" Any thoughts on that?
Therapy.
What would you guys? Yeah.
Therapy.
Yeah, and specifically trauma therapy, because I did a lot of therapy, but I didn't really get a lot of change in my life until I went to a specific trauma therapist, because they know how to help you process the trauma, and it really changes your life if you do that kind of work.
Did the trauma therapist you went to, do they use is it EMDR? There's a special type of,
I did do some EMDR.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Great.
very effective. If you're with the right person to help. Yeah.
Yeah. Armin, do you have anything to add to this question?
Only to say that everyone should be married to Kitty Swink because she's always helped me with my trauma.
Oh,
that's so sweet.
So he is an in-house trauma therapist.
He is an in-house trauma therapist.
An in-house therapist.
Yes.
I
also
did not
causes
have
neurosis
that.
sometimes as well.
Oh God. Prophet David Buck asks, Armin and Terry, what was it like to meet your castmates for the first time? How quickly were you able to tell you were in the presence of a remarkable ensemble of actors?
Took a little while. It took a little while because I have that big of an ego. So it took a little while for me to realize that they were as good as I was.
That they were acceptable.
They'll do.
They'll do.
Oh my gosh.
I do. And I had worked with Renee before.
Okay.
So I was aware of that, and we don't have enough time for me to go into that. But it took a little while, and understand that it took them a little while to understand who I was as well. They saw the makeup, they knew the character from the page, but they didn't know who Armin was. They knew they might have known who Quark was, but they didn't know who Armin was. And so it took them a little while to find out who I was, just as it took me a little while to find out who they were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Terry, what about you? What was it like to meet your castmates for the first time?
Oh, it was terrifying. It was.
Well, you talked about that before. Like you were the last cast. Everyone was already together, and all these great actors doing tons of stage and all this. And you'd come from, just this different background in a way, right? So you felt a little left out, and you were saying earlier. So
yeah. Well, I felt a little left out of the loop, and you're all warmed up too.
Yeah,
you're not coming out of when you jump in at the same time. You're all you're getting in your groove. You've been in front of camera. It's not your first shot. Your first shot was 6 weeks ago. So when it's your first shot, and then almost everything's about you, and you're getting mixed signals on what people want from you, meaning production, and they're trying really hard to explain to you what they want exactly. And it was a lot. It was
bumpy.
Lot.
Sounds really bumpy.
So do you think by the end of season 1, you felt more in the loop at that point, or did it take a little longer, or was it after the first 3 episodes? What was it?
I think as we start watching it, things will come back in my memory of it.
Yeah.
Right now, the pilot is first and foremost I'm
jumping in the deep end of the pool.
That memory. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Jumping in the deep end of the pool is a great way of putting it, Armin.
It is. It is. All right.
Okay. Prophet Jonathan Brooks says, Armin and Terry, welcome to the Delta Flyers.
Thank you.
Question for you both. The sets are built, the lights are striked, and the cameras are about to roll. What were you both feeling when you prepared for your first take on the show?
Don't up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Don't up or I'm going to get fired.
Yeah.
I have to get past the pilot to get picked up for the first 7, to get picked up for the next to be 14. And then after that, it's smooth sailing.
Right.
But yeah, like that.
Yeah.
My contract. Don't up.
Okay.
You got to pay for your house.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right. Prophet Rich Gross says, Armin, for you and the other actors who had to be in extreme makeup or prosthetics, did the production make any effort to get your scenes taken care of in one batch, or did you have to sit and wait in that makeup for hours?
One of the things that any TV show does is try to get for any particular actor or group of actors, they try to clump them together so that they're done at one time. Mm-hmm. So we rarely ever shot something linearly. In other words, from the first scene to the last scene. That I don't think that ever happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's not linear. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So they did. However, there were many days where I had to sit around for long periods of time in the makeup. This is what generated my writing novels, was that I had all this free time in my trailer and I decided to use it to do that. I did have a running controversy with the second AD that if he called me in early and I had to sit around for hours with nothing to do because for whatever reason, whether they made a mistake calling me in early or whether there was an emergency that had to be tended to first, what I did was take the spare head of the Ferengi head, and I would go over to him and I would stick it on his head. It wasn't glued on, but I would stick the rubber appliance on his head and say,
he had to wear
you wear this until I'm called in, because so that you understand what I'm sort of going through.
Good for you.
And you couldn't hear very well, could you, with that on?
No.
It was almost impossible.
I could hear individuals. I could not hear groups. If 3 or 4 people were talking once, it was indecipherable to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Okay, Prophet James H. Morrow says, DS9 has a reputation amongst some as being the most serious or dark of the Star Trek series. Armin and Terry, when you read Emissary for the first time, does the story seem dark to you? What did you think of its tone?
I don't remember thinking it was dark.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking, I want it. That's all I remember thinking was I want it. It wasn't as though I had a lot of choices. It wasn't as though I was a very, very, very working actor who had a lot of choices to pick from. I didn't. But so I don't remember it being dark. Certainly, as I started to watch the episodes, one could easily see the difference between the first 2 shows and ours. That became clear to me as I watched the episodes, not necessarily when I was reading the scripts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For me, when I feel a bit in the same situation Armin was in. I felt so grateful for the audition, as you've heard how hard it was for me to actually get the audition.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hard time focusing on the story because all I was focused on was trying to understand Dax and ways of figuring out who she was through it. But beyond that, I was so out of my mind excited about the possibilities of playing an entity that was 350 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but the science officer that was my hero, Spock's. You're going to be the Spock part.
Right.
Oh my God.
With all the technobabble as well.
That's right.
Yes, it would. If they gave me a test on my how quick I could memorize something, I would have definitely not gotten the part. So thank God they did not do that to me. It was too hard to tell. But I also had this when they said it was the dark Star Trek, I remember thinking, what if we're going to be on the cover of Newsweek? What if we tell stories that really impact and change people. That's what I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of something that shakes things up and makes people go, what?
Yeah.
That's actually happening. How great that they told the story in a way that we can actually hear it. So, and now we are years later to find out we actually did tell those stories. So it's very exciting.
And if I may add something that hasn't been spoken before, the show's darkness is perhaps mirrored on the fact that the inspiration, one of the inspirations for the show, was the Serbian-Croatian War. That was what was happening at the time. What influenced Michael and the writers and Berman to if it's dark, it's because of that darkness from that war.
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We hadn't talked about it, but I've heard that numerous times that the war in Serbia and Croatia was the inspiration. Like when Voyager, a couple of years later, Voyager was created, I heard that the LA riots and some of the issues around that were kind of inspiring on the beginnings of our show, and the Kazon and the Caretaker and some of those things. So it's interesting, the politics and the what's in the news and what's happening politically and socially around the world influenced the beginnings of each of our shows in a big way.
I think sometimes because we are very much in our society, and especially 30 years ago, because there are a lot of enormous leaps we've taken in 30 years compared to where we're at when our show first aired, that truth can also be part of darkness because it's something that's hidden. It's something that when you're on Next Gen or the original series, it's not something that they faced a lot. And in Deep Space Nine, a lot of what is truth gets faced. Like Kira saying, I'm a Bajoran woman, and this is who I am. That there's nothing about her that says she's hiding who she is. That is truth. And anger is sort of a darkness too. It's another dark quality, but it's a quality that I think most of us, and especially in America, in our culture, that's a bad word that, I'm not angry, I'm frustrated. Right. But anger is a valid emotion that we have. And when we face it, we can move through it. And I think there's something to that in our show. That is a contribution to Star Trek that hasn't really been a contribution before.
Okay, next question is from Prophet Stephanie Baker. If Quark would have looked into the orb, what would he might have seen? I'm going to go comedically. It would have been looking in there, seeing the scenes from TNG, and
it would have been a different type of prophet. A different type of prophet is what it would be. I would assume he would see what Cisco saw, which is where he lives. His experiences and what he went through and how what he had to sacrifice to get where he was, things that he did, which he may have been proud of, he may not have been proud of. I would assume that he would have the same experiences as Cisco.
And maybe seeing images of his childhood with his brother, Ram. Who knows, right? Yeah.
And with his domineering mother as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely some darkness in there.
Okay.
Wow.
Robbie?
Okay, 2 more questions. Prophet Chris Hansen asks, had any members of the cast worked together before the first episode?
Renee and I.
Yeah.
I didn't work with somebody else that's on our show, but I have a connection to Andy Robinson, which is Hellraiser. We both did Hellraiser. He did Hellraiser 1 and I did Hellraiser 3.
You were
it's just kind of a silly thing, but I remember being so excited to meet him because it's like,
we're Hellraiser alumni. Hey, like that. Okay, I got it.
Yes, I did it just like that. Actually, I probably did.
And besides Renee, I spent 3 months in Italy with Mark Alaimo doing a movie.
Oh, wow.
I spent 2.5 months on stage at the Mark Taper Forum with Andy doing Richard II.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I'm sure there are a lot of other actors that I spent time with doing shows, But
Oh,
those people
are we
come
going to
in.
talk about guest stars? Because if we start going into guest stars,
No,
then
well-
there's people we know.
We'll have to wait for those
that's obvious,
episodes.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll wait for those episodes. But so
And
what
there
was
was
the
a
movie?
lady. There was a lady I didn't really work with, but she was on the show twice, and I lived with her. So.
Oh, that's right. Yes. What was the movie with the limo in Italy that you shot?
It's called Arena. It's a science fiction picture. And
Okay.
ironically, the characters we played were very, very similar to what we ended up doing in Deep Space Nine.
Wow,
Oh, how
foreshadowing. I love it.
That's hilarious.
Okay. For the very final question from Prophet Tara Polen, for both Armin and Terry, what were your expectations for making a Star Trek series when you started, if any? And how did the reality of it compare to your hopes and anxieties about it?
It was not on my radar at all. I would have never anticipated that being in my wheelhouse ever.
For me, yes, I always wanted to be on a Star Trek show. Although, after the original series was over, one didn't expect there to be another Star Trek series. It went for years, and there was no Star Trek series.
Yeah.
So it didn't occur to me that there would be one. But when TNG started, I had the opportunity to, as I said, not to play a Ferengi, but to play a talking prop on the show. And I had a conflict. I was doing Beauty and the Beast, and they wanted me. Both shows wanted me the same day, and I had decided that I wanted to do the talking prop over my regular part on Beauty and the Beast. That was a fortuitous decision because it led to us being here today. But there was that. I know this is going to sound terrible, and you may all agree with me or not, but after the initial, and by initial I mean the first 2 years, after the initial excitement about being on the show, and I was always excited about being on the show, but it got to be work.
Mm-hmm.
It got to be, I've got to memorize my lines. I've got to go in at 5 o'clock in the morning. I've got to do all the things that one does when one goes to work. And it dampened that excitement a little. On the other hand, for me and for me only, because I had the opportunity to do other TV shows, including Buffy, on a regular basis while I was shooting Star Trek Deep Space Nine, it rejuvenated my desire to go back and play the character, because I had played another character earlier that week or the week before. And so I wasn't stuck in doing the same character for 7 years.
Awesome.
Well, great. Thank you both so much for this marathon pilot episode.
Yes, this blockbuster, this grand opening that we just had. And just
shorter than putting on makeup.
That's true. That's true.
It's been absolutely amazing having these two new co-hosts with us. We're so lucky to have Armin and Terry with us. And so join us next week, Patreon patrons, when we review the episode Past Prologue. Until then, have a great week. See you guys.
Bye-bye.